All right, we're going to start the October the 19th meeting. We'll have the call to order. We're going to have invocation by the mayor, pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Firstner, and then we'll have roll call. Everybody please stand. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to ask your guidance as we go about our business for the city of Ocoee and do the due diligence that we are put up here to do. We ask that you watch over everybody and ask them to be kind and obedient tonight as we go through this process. We asked you to watch out for our first responders and look after all the people with COVID to make sure we're still working towards solving this problem. In God's name we say amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brunson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson? Here. Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
I think so.
All right, presentations and proclamations. We have a proclamation for a week of the family, November the 6th to the 13th. I'll read that and then we'll have Ms. Laney come up and receive it. Whereas the city of Ocoee is blessed with a multitude of families, an essential part of the cultural, social, and spiritual fabric of our community. And whereas the city of Ocoee Commission recognizes that strong families are at the center of communities, that children live better lives when their families are strong, and that families are strong when they live in communities that connect them to economic opportunities, social networks, and services. And whereas the theme for this week's of the family is My Family, My Compass. And whereas we hope you will consider every day how you can be present with your family, your parents, siblings, and children, if you have them. And whereas during the week of November the 6th through November the 13th, 2021, City of Ocoee residents should take the time to honor the importance of families and recommit to enhancing and extending the special connections that support and strengthen them. Now, therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby declare the week of November the 6th through the 13th, 2021 as Week of the Family in Ocoee, and urge all citizens to share in the many festivities prepared for this occasion. Ms. Laney.
Thank you, mayors and commissioner, for helping to make Ocoee a wonderful place for families all year long. And if you go to www.weekofthefamily.org, you can see a calendar of special events that week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see the camera picture.
Yeah.
Tim is right in the middle.
He's
Tim
in the
is
middle.
You want to have your picture
Yeah.
taken?
You want to come up? Everybody? Get them all up here. You'll get one more, please. Thank you.
You never let me forget that.
We have one more, Commissioner Wilson's going to read.
This is a proclamation, the Florida City Government Week. Whereas city government is a government closest to the most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to the understanding of its many responsibilities. whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along the understanding of public service and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Government Week offers an important opportunity for elected officials and city staff to spread the word to all citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence this branch of government. And whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now therefore, it is resolved that the City of Ocoee, City Commission of the City of Ocoee, does hereby proclaim October 18th to 24th of 2021 as Florida City Government Week. And our mayor has signed it. He has set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Ocoee to be affixed on this 19th day of October, 2021. Thank you.
Okay. Staff reports.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right, public comments for anything that are on the agenda, and that will be after we start in a few minutes. So then I have one public comment that we'll do at the end, Mr. Moore. Come on down.
Good afternoon, Mayor, and other members of the distinguished board. I am here on behalf of the City of Ocoee's Human Relations Diversity Board to submit a proposal for the events that are going to occur for the 101st City of Ocoee Riots Memoriam. And I have some facts and figures that I need to propose to the board to see if we can go forward. I understand there is a budget that has been established, but these figures may be a little higher. So we're looking at the first event date, Saturday, November the 6th, location of the Ocoee City Hall, time from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. The Buffalo Soldiers have agreed to do I guess we'll call it a freedom ride through Ocoee, pretty much along the routes from, one second. I'm sorry, starting at the July Perry Memorial Highway over the Oakland Avenue Charter School, and then coming around through the, can't read that number. Is that the 426? Silver Star, coming up Clark Road, coming around to West Colonial, and then back up Bluford Avenue and ending here at Stark Lake City Hall. During that time, we are proposed a program by Jennifer Yon Agency, which would include the following: 4 community tents at $379, 5 portable restrooms with 2 hand sanitizing stations, a 16-foot by 20-foot mobile stage with roof at $1,750. Also, there will be a setup for sound, lighting, and generator at $2,500. We also have a proposal with the honorarium for Darlene Jones from WFTV Channel 9, but I understand she has agreed to donate that honorarium to a local youth group, $1,200. The Buffalo Soldiers, we're expecting approximately 60 of them to participate in this freedom ride. So there is also included food vouchers for those 60 people at $15 a piece, coming out to a total of $900. There's also entertainment, where there will be a DJ and music, $1,500. There's an agency management fee, 20% of the event total. And then there's also $1,500 for the Descendants Dinner, which will be later that evening on Saturday around after 6 p.m., sorry. Total amount we've come to, including taxes, is $15,056.09. We also have a program planned on Sunday, which High Point Church is going to be taking most of the lead for that event. have submitted an agenda, which will include the welcome from TJ Luke, Orlando World Outreach Center, who will be the MC for that evening's event. I'm sorry, this is on Sunday, November the 7th. The national anthem, an invocation by Gary Howell with Glad Tidings, a recap of this event by Ross Middleton High Point Church, recognition of descendants by TJ Luke. There will also be songs. There's input for mayor's remarks, commissioner's remarks, and HRDB remarks. Then there's also going to be an announcement of the Descendants Scholarship Fund by State Senator Randolph Bracey. A keynote address will be done by Pastor Donnell Jones, Grace Covenant Church from Washington, D.C. Another song introduction, and then reading of the names of the 1920 census here in the city of Ocoee. And that'll be capped off by the silent walk, as well as the church bells, which this year will ring 101 times, since this is the 101st year. And then we'll end with an exhortation and singing of the Amazing Grace at the end of that walk. Benediction by Reverend Dorsey. At this time, if there's any questions or comments regarding this proposal and these programs.
Anybody?
I assume you're asking for funding, correct? How much have we budgeted? Can you tell me what was already budgeted for this so that we get an idea?
$7,000.
7,000, so you're looking for an additional
$8,000.
$8,000, approximately $8,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have it in contingency, Rob, correct?
Hold on.
Hold on, what's our,
Yeah, you've only spent about $45,000 this year in contingency.
Yeah, 45,000.
unless someone else has questions, I'll be happy to make the motion, unless someone else has.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Is there a
Should we make the
second?
balance, should we say the balance of, from the $15,050.09, not to be so exact, but am I right? on
That's
the number?
correct.
Less 50 cents
$15,056.09.
less the 7,000 that you're budgeted?
Correct.
So the balance would be, that would
About
come out of
8,000.
contingency,
8,056.09.
8,056.09?
Correct.
Okay.
Commissioner, I'd recommend you just do 8,500 in case there's last-minute price changes of $20 or $50 somewhere, so we don't have to
No
come back
problem.
or create an issue paying the bill.
I don't want to get down to the penny, I know that, so.
Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? No more comments, let's vote.
Okay.
Not working. Hey, that's not no, it's a yes.
It's what?
Do it again. All right, let's go.
Oh,
Yep.
who came up with this?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right, we're going to go to the consent agenda. Let me hear a motion.
Oh,
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Motion by Commissioner Oliver for the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. Any more comments? No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to move up. Let me see. Item 8. We're going to move item 8 up to discussion. So we're going to let before we start, a couple of things. On the back of all your speaker forms, there's a civility code. So if you don't have one of those and you're going to speak, or whoever's in the audience, you might already get one and read it. So we won't keep order tonight when we go through this. We also got some other things, but the city attorney's going to read it out before we start.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the title to the ordinance, and then I'll do the staff report. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida relating to animals, enacting Section 3 of Chapter 43 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ocoee, regulating the retail sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits by pet stores, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing an effective date. So, Mayor and Commissioners, in
In June of 2021, as you know, the Orange County adopted an ordinance that would ban the retail sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits. That ban would have the effect of, it would affect one business that operates in the city of Ocoee that does the retail sale of dogs, and that would require them to cease the sale of the dogs commencing in July of 2022. After a presentation on the county's ordinance, the City Commission directed city staff to draft an ordinance that grandfathered in the existing Choose a Puppy retail store in the city, and we drafted that ordinance. We had 2 readings and a public hearing 2 weeks ago, or 2 meetings ago. At the public, as part of that public hearing and consideration for the ordinance, City Commission directed city staff to go back and look at ways to examine other counties' ordinances to see what ways other counties have regulated retail businesses. And we did that, came back with a revised ordinance that imposes certain regulations on this Choose a Puppy store. So the proposed ordinance before you tonight would exempt Choose a Puppy from the county ordinance, which would permit them to continue to operate in the city. And it would impose the following regulations on the business. First, the business would need to post in a conspicuous notice that contains City of Ocoee contact information, Orange County Animal Services information, and the Attorney General information for any complaints relating to the business. 2, the existing pet store would need to provide the City of Ocoee copies of any violation notices that they receive from Orange County Animal Services or the Attorney General's office. 3, the existing pet store would need to post near the cages or enclosures for the pets a notice that advises consumers that they're entitled to information concerning the health of the pet and the vaccine records of the pet. 4, the existing pet store would have would need to post on each cage for any pet specific information concerning the pet, such as the name and contact information for the breeding facility, the license number of the breeder, the date the pet was born, and the date the existing pet store received that pet. Such information would be included on the cage or enclosure for the pet, and then also given to each customer upon purchase of the pet. 5, the existing pet store would be subject to regular inspections by the City of Ocoee on top of those inspections conducted by the Orange County Animal Services. And then 6, the existing pet store would provide a lifetime warranty for replacement of any dog that was affected by a congenital or hereditary disorder, provided that the consumer kept the vaccination records and information was provided by the vet that the dog suffered from this disorder, and that'd be a lifetime warranty for the life of that pet. So those are the 6 areas of regulations that we've included in this ordinance. And tonight, as we've at 2 meetings ago, we had our public hearing. We spent about 3 hours hearing comments from those for the pet store and those against the pet store. The purpose of the public hearing tonight is not to rehash those same complaints or issues, but to talk specifically about the 6 regulations that are new, that are imposed by this ordinance. So public comment should be limited to those regulations, those 6 regulations, and not a rehash of what was considered and discussed at the prior city commission. So that's our staff report. If the city commission desires to exempt this particular business and impose these regulations, they should adopt the ordinance. If the city commission does not want to exempt this business, then the city commission should vote no on the ordinance, which would mean that the county ordinance would be in place, effectively terminating the right for this pet store to operate commencing in July of 2022.
All right, everybody understand, we're going to deal with the 6 issues. If you get off track, start somewhere else, then the city attorney's going to stop you. So it's got to be about the issues. It's about the issues that we brought up, that we went through the others already. All right, we'll start with Dr. Fernandez.
That would be me, but then I just heard what you said. I wasn't here for the first meeting, so I don't want to go into any topic that I must not be touching.
That's not what we said. What do you say?
Yeah, so you don't want to speak on one of the regulations?
But
Oh.
you made it clear that
What-
if the topic is only going to be for the specific state's ordinances, which I have no knowledge of, since I wasn't here for the first meeting. I was just contacted doing.
We didn't have them at the first meeting. We just brought them, that's why we waited 2 weeks to go through this.
Okay, because then I don't know if what I'm going to say is
Well,
not in.
if you do, he'll stop you. Okay, come on up.
Over there.
Stand
You've got to go up there.
right over here.
You're not on
3
trial.
minutes
You're not on trial.
total.
Hi, good evening. First time, so sorry for the unofficial mode. So my name is Dr. Fernandez. I'm a veterinarian. I'm actually a forensic veterinarian. I am here on behalf of the ASPCA. Like I said, I wasn't here for the first meeting, so I don't know if I touched something. Please let me know, something that should not be discussed today. But basically, my job entitles to do physical exams on animals that come from like puppy mills and several other abuse cases. During the physical exams, and I don't know if somebody has ever been to a puppy mill before, so basically what I see is hundreds of dogs paired in small cages. They are standing in their own urine and feces. They are often really matted on their hair. Sometimes they even have maggots. They have like several infections, ear and skin infections. And those are, and they're full of parasites as well as some other infectious diseases. Behavior-wise, these animals lack any socialization whatsoever, as they spend all their life in a small cage like this, a 4x4 cage, for the sole purpose of just like breeding until the female pretty much cannot like have any more viable puppies. After that, they just get thrown away. Behavior-wise, like I said, they lack socialization, so whenever they are sold to future owners, the behavior problem sometimes becomes so frustrating that owners relinquish them to a shelter, which the city of Ocoee doesn't have one. It depends on the Orange County Animal Services for that. It has come to my attention that a puppy store on Highway 50 actually has bought some puppies from a puppy mill, which is now being sued by the USDA. These are the health certificates. I don't know, I mean, I only have one copy, so I don't know if somebody can just like,
When you get through, you can turn them into the city clerk.
I'm sorry?
When you get through, you can turn it into the city clerk.
Okay. So basically, I am against of the city of Ocoee opting out. The reason for that is I have seen puppies from this pet store. I work at multiple clinics, and they are not in good health. Some of these diseases, like I said, are transmitted to humans, like for example, hookworms. So this is not only a matter of entering and supporting abuse of animals, it's also a matter of public health. Gastrointestinal parasites like hookworms can be transmitted to humans, causing several damage to organs. Leptospirosis is a bacterial disease that can actually be transmitted to humans, and it can be fatal. So based on that, I don't support the operation. Puppy mills are actually a form of abuse.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Who does?
All right.
Down at the end. Dr. Fernandez did a great job kind of explaining the position. Many of the same things were discussed 2 weeks ago. So again, if you're going to echo what she says, now would not be the time to do it. That was 2 meetings ago. If you have comments specifically relate to the regulations that the City Commission is considering as part of this ordinance, you're welcome to discuss those as part of the public hearing. If you had something that Dr. Fernandez referenced or something that was mentioned at the last meeting, then it'd be inappropriate for you to comment tonight on that.
Okay, all right. Jet? Padua? Jet? P-A-D-U-A? Is anybody outside in the outside quarter? All right, we're gonna move on. There he is. You have 3 minutes, young man. Somebody help him with that mic.
Need a stool? Come over here, buddy.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Jet Padua, and I disagree on letting pet stores being legal because cats are suffering in the stores. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, we got the same family here. Kelly. Remember what he said about talking about? Kelly Padua. Padua? Padua.
Good evening. Oh, yes, short people. Good evening. Thank you for taking the time to review this issue seriously. You have the opportunity to do the right thing. We all know that these pet stores get their animals from facilities with numerous documented violations, and that this has caused negative financial and emotional ramifications for the citizens of this county. Having said that, addressing the actual 6 new points, that is not going to rectify this awful situation. Replacing a sick puppy who died is not going to help the family who already spent thousands on the puppy and then more thousands on the vet bills. And most importantly, it's not going to repair the emotional damage that the family has had to incur. Am I talking about the wrong thing?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That the family has gone through, which is awful. This is related, adopted a dog that was from a puppy mill. So the police had to get involved and he was required to be surrendered. He has numerous medical and physical and emotional issues that we are in a financial position to work through, but not everyone would be. Taking him down the road on a walk, as in like down the block, has taken years. His feet splay out when he sits because he was on the wire for so long. And we worked with him
but it's really hard. I will never know how many puppies he has had to have out there. He was never socialized, ever, and that's why the authorities had to come in and remove him. So his is the best case scenario, which is really still awful. Please, a full ban of retail pet sales is the only way to keep the citizens safe. Thank you.
Thank you. So, let's keep the clapping down till afterwards, okay? When we get through, then we'll call. Every little bit of time helps, huh? Emily Benilla. Check out.
I'm Emily Bonilla.
Anytime.
Okay, do I state my name and address?
Well, I already said your name. You can say it for the record, yeah, and you live in
Okay.
Orlando, right? Orlando?
Emily Bonilla, Orange County Commissioner, District 5.
Yep.
The Orange County Ordinance was put in place to protect our citizens, our pets, and stop animal cruelty from being imported across state lines. This ordinance here contradicts itself. In one of the whereases, it says that it deems continued ability with one of existing pet stores within the city to engage in retail pet sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits to be in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of its residents and citizens and the public at large. But then in the next whereas, it says the same thing, but for prohibiting other pet stores. So therefore, the two whereases are contradicting themselves. This ordinance contradicts itself. Both statements cannot coexist at once. It also seems that this ordinance is showing favoritism and granting a monopoly to Choose a Puppy, evidenced by allowing Choose a Puppy to self-report any violations and the absence of any consequences for not following this ordinance. This is one of those ordinances where politicians, and I should know, pretends to do something good, but in fact is a useless ordinance. It doesn't do anything to help the residents, only the business owner. And if I was to create any ordinance in Orange County that does not have any enforcement, I would wish that any of you come to my county and to my board and tell me that I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. So hold me accountable as well. As for the warranty component, my position is that pets are life partners and not just products. The point of the Orange County retail pet store ban is to acknowledge that all living beings are deserving of dignity and respect. This warranty does not solve the root of the problem, but only exacerbates the inhumane breeding practices. This ordinance, as written, is not enforceable. This commission is relying on Orange County Animal Services and the Attorney General to inspect one store and handle their retail sale problems when pet stores are banned from selling dogs, cats, and rabbits everywhere else in the county effective June 2022. Leaving this ordinance open-ended and without consequences shows the prioritization of one local store over the health and well-being of citizens and animals across Ocoee. Ocoee doesn't have the authority over Orange County Animal Services, and Ocoee doesn't have a health services to take care of infectious disease outbreaks from an animal. Therefore, it would make sense that this would fall under the county, like the city of Orlando decided to do when it was first brought to them to implement. We, the county, took care of it with our county ordinance. We don't need your interference to undo our regulations that have enforcement and provides efficient use of our county resources and tax dollars.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Couple points to that, and I'll let the lawyer speak to one of them before, about the ordinance being viable or not. Can you
Can we do
speak?
that now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hold on.
Commissioner? The Orange County Charter itself allows the city to exempt or enact an ordinance on the same subject matter as the county ordinance. So your assertion that we're doing something illegal or inappropriate is just not correct. We're doing exactly what the county charter allows us to do, which is enact an ordinance that regulates the exact same thing that the county is regulating.
I did not say it's illegal. However, you are asking to,
said it wasn't.
you're trying to do something that you have no way to enforce or no authority over
All right.
another agency.
Just real quick, if you get up and speak your piece, he's going to answer what you said. Then we don't go back and forth with things. Okay? So it is viable. You said it wasn't viable. It is viable. So that's all we need to say. All right, thank you. Jennifer Hawkins. Come on down.
Sorry, I'd rather take a beating than walk in front of all you people. I'd like to thank each one of you city commissioners for all you do to serve us here in the community. And our mayor, we are friends, and I hope we still will be after tonight.
Always.
And we're neighbors. And he's always taken our concerns to heart, and we surely do appreciate that. To each one of you, thank you. I really wish I could have spoken first because you all said a lot of the things that I was going to, but I will tell you, I did read, Mayor Johnson, that you had said, I think the paper reported it, I better hurry or I'm going to get that buzzer, that you wanted to hear from the residents of the city. And I am one, my dad, who will be 96 next week, and my brother are both here, and they're general contractors, and they've built very lovely homes, at least I think they are, and they are going to build more. And so we have an invested interest in the success and the good reputation of the city of Ocoee. Many people have spoken that are more knowledgeable and eloquent than I, but to me, this is kind of a no-brainer. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone's viewpoint when I say that, but I've read about puppy mills, and we're not here to talk about that, and I understand it, so I won't. But I will say that while there are some positive points to this ordinance, the amended proposed ordinance, in that the customer is protected, this ordinance doesn't protect the animals themselves. In fact, one of the most troubling aspects of the amended version is that warranty for the life of the pet that allows a customer to return for a replacement any pet afflicted by a condition that's debilitating and affects the health of the pet. This warranty brought to mind a recent experience at my local Walmart, which I'm sure, I don't know if you shop there, but I do. And I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Anyway, I stood in line to return a bottle of defective spray cleaner, and it just brought to mind friends and members of the city government. Animals are not inanimate objects to return. There are laws protecting them from cruelty and abuse. This proposed ordinance would again protect the customer, but do irreparable harm to the animals themselves. So I respectfully and with great feeling, as a resident of the city, ask the members of our city commission to vote against passing the ordinance and to support the county plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am. Remember what I said, clapping at the end, please. Rhonda Johnson. Check outside.
Hello and good evening. My name is Rhonda Johnson, and I live in Winter Garden. You have to excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. I am a customer of having a puppy from a puppy mill. I bought my dog from Choose a Puppy in July. And 4 months later, $2,500 later, she's still not better. I don't believe that the warranty is something suitable for families, because I have two, they become a part of your family. I have 2 young children that have grown attached to this dog we've had for the whole entire summer. She has a dislocated kneecap that she's going to need surgery for later on in life. That's going to cost me probably around the amount of $5,000 on top of the $5,500 that I paid for her. I'm $2,500 just in medical bills. She had bronchitis 7 days after I purchased her. And Choose a Puppy, I'm out of luck because I'm out of my warranty. If she doesn't need surgery for her knee within the 1 year, I can pay for it out of pocket, or I can return her and get a new puppy, and then at that point I can start all over again and nurture my 3-month-old dog back to life again. Thank you.
Real quick, what's the name? Was it this place?
It was this place,
It was
yes.
this place, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Rosemary Lupo.
My name is Rosemary Lupo. I'd like to thank the commission for allowing me to speak. I'm going to go right to my second point that it addresses the ordinance and the revisions to the ordinance. Any attempt at circumventing, overriding, exempting, or opting out of an ordinance or law duly passed cannot be entertained. It's unacceptable. Every entity must adhere to the ordinance without exception. Not to do so undermines the voters and the basis of our government. I'd like to say I'm an animal rescuer, and one point is how a puppy store would acquire their animals through breeders. I am routinely involved at Orange County Animal Shelter, pulling cats before their euthanasia deadline. I'm with many volunteers. We're stretched way too thin. We're emotionally, physically, and financially exhausted trying to save pets. We just don't need anybody selling animals at this point when other animals are still needing homes. We work so hard to keep cruelty and neglect, and it breaks my heart on an almost daily basis. This is the unseen side of rescue. It does have something to do with Choose a Puppy, great deal. We try to solve the problems, and rescue venues such as Choose a Puppy create more problems by selling animals while others suffer and die in shelter. For every purchase made at a venue means one less home that a shelter pet in danger of euthanasia. We simply don't need it. Designer animals. What we need is a scarcity of pets so that every unwanted animal can find a home. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, John Pelkey.
Thank you so much for your time, and I will not take a great deal of it. I appreciate it. I won't spend a lot of time talking necessarily about puppy mills. I think you've probably educated yourself as to puppy mills and their effect on the greater community. What I would like to talk about is a provision that would allow you to return a dog that you brought home to your family. I'll only say this about it. If you are a parent, grandparent, anyone who has brought an animal home and then is comfortable with choosing to return it after a number of days because it has health problems for a refund, I mean, that's Squid Game level weird in my mind. But I want to just, for a moment, ask a question. Is it, what type of a community do we want to be? Do we want to be a community that, that puts morals, and I know that's a terrible thing to bring up because we all have our own idea of morality, but that puts right above profit? I don't think we do. Center for Good Living covers a lot of things. It is my belief that we want to be a community that is inclusive to everyone, businesses and citizens alike, and to put ourselves in a position where we step back from laws that have been put in place to better the lives of creatures that are living on this planet and people as well seems wrong. I will quote Mark Twain. Mark Twain said that if you pick up a starving dog, he will not bite you. That is the principal difference between a dog and a man. And in conclusion, I will also say this to all of you. One of the great philosophers of the 20th century, Charles M. Schulz of the Peanuts, said, he tried all his life to be a good man. Frequently he failed. After all, he was only human, he wasn't a dog. Please do the right thing. Thank you.
One more time, please do not clap. Okay? Let's see. I'm not going to. Well, it seems like everybody wants to be here all night, so I'm going to slow it down where we can all stay. Then they want to speak on the same stuff. And neighbor, I haven't made my mind up, so you could still be in the good stead. Maybe not, but you'll see. I think Dr. Nanette Paratillo Wagner. Whatever that word is. You my English teacher?
Dr. Parada Wagner, good evening, City Commissioners and Mayor. Your ordinance language circles around what I will present. The Florida Pet Lemon Law is Statute 828.29. The statute stipulates the conditions for legal sales of dogs and cats in Florida. It offers the bare minimum protections to consumers and against animal abuse or neglect. It gives consumers guidelines for how to seek resolution to difficulties with sellers if the dog or cat purchased is diseased within a specified timeline of the purchase. This statute does not regulate how Choose a Puppy operates on a day-to-day basis. The owners of Choose a Puppy misrepresented to you during their testimony last month that they are regulated by this statute. They simply have to pay a veterinarian to examine and vaccinate and test puppies for internal and external parasites. They have to pay a veterinarian to sign an official certificate of veterinary inspection for sale of each puppy. There are no state inspections of their business to assure consumers that animal abuse or neglect is not occurring. Regarding the Animal Welfare Act regulation of retail pet stores, this federal law does not govern retail pet stores, period, full stop. The owners of Choose a Puppy falsely represented to you during their testimony last month that the Federal Animal Welfare Act governs how they operate. It does not. There are no federal inspections of their business to assure consumers that animal abuse or neglect is not occurring. They misrepresented to you how the federal law does impact their ability to acquire puppies for sale. To remind you, Choose a Puppy purchases their retail stock from brokers who wholesale puppies from puppy mills, which are primarily located in the Midwest. Choose a Puppy does not purchase puppies from local family breeders, according to their own documentation. They misrepresented to you last month how they acquire puppies for sale. The Orange County Animal Control Ordinance, Section 5-40, stipulates periodic inspections unless Orange County Animal Services receives complaints of animal abuse or neglect. The owners of Choose a Puppy misrepresented how frequently they are inspected by Orange County inspectors. The revised City of Ocoee ordinance does not provide for any mechanism to assure that Choose a Puppy will abide by the stipulations of the ordinance. The ordinance is all bark and no bite. You've stated for the record that you represent your constituents in Ocoee, which is totally true.
Please state for the record how many of your constituents have contacted each of you to tell you to vote in support of the exemption. State for the record how many have told you to vote to oppose the exemption. You want your constituents to believe that you are voting in support of an exemption for a business whose owners have misrepresented to you several key facts about how they operate. How will you justify your vote to your constituents? How will you justify your vote to your neighbors in Orange County who will be impacted by your vote? Please do the right thing. Vote to oppose this ordinance.
Thank you. All right. Kathy Hood, Houde.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Kathy Hood. I am a resident of Ocoee. 2 quick points. The USDA itself says their regulations are low bar and are not intended to be standards of care. With 95 inspectors for over 8,100 facilities nationwide, there is no way they can keep their eyes on them all. And I highly doubt that the 250 to 300 stores that Choose a Puppy is sourcing from are all operating at the highest standards. If a breeder or a facility does not invite you in to see their operation, that is clearly a red flag. And one more point, on the financing of these puppies, why doesn't the ordinance prohibit Choose a Puppy from offering financing? Are we okay with continuing to hand the customers off to Easy Pay Lending, one of the worst lending companies in the nation? Online alerts warn people of the Easy Pay scam and interest rates up to 200%. The lender has over 400 Better Business Bureau complaints. This ordinance gives Choose a Puppy a green light to keep harming your constituents and sending further into financial distress. Please protect the community and Ocoee residents like myself. Vote no on this ordinance. Thank you for your time and have a great night.
Can I ask you a question? You said Ocoee, you live in Viscaya Apartments?
Yes.
That's in Orange County. I know it's Ocoee mailing address, but it's Orange County, not in the city. That's okay.
Well, I have an Ocoee.
I know.
It's an Ocoee.
I know. I
zip code.
delivered your mail a long time ago there, but that's Orange County Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just good, right there. Christina Spillane.
Good evening. My name is Christina Spillane, Pet Alliance volunteer. Although I live in Winter Garden, I shop in Ocoee, or I don't shop in Ocoee due to bad policy. We all know what a puppy mill is and that they sell to puppy stores, so I will move on. In the September 21st meeting, Ocoee commissioners accused Orange County commissioners of not dealing with the issue when they voted to ban puppy, kitten, and bunny sales in Orange County. I believe that Orange County commissioners realize that a solid no retail sale of animals policy is better, more humane, and enforceable than the bad policy Ocoee is proposing. Ocoee commissioners don't want to follow county ordinances, yet Ocoee commissioners expect that the Orange County Animal Services to enforce the Ocoee City ordinance. That is passing the buck, literally. And when, not if, a violation is incurred, the Ocoee Commission thinks that Choose is going to willingly let you know. Isn't that asking the fox to guard the hen house? Once the violation is issued, what are the proposed penalties? Again, the Ocoee ordinance passes the buck onto the consumer to request pertinent information about a puppy's health and where the puppy came from. How long does Choose have to provide that information? Weeks after purchase? That's too late. This information should be posted on each kennel of each puppy every day. And the consumer is supposed to know how to verify this paperwork. I think Choose should be forced to put a hold on any puppy to give the customer time to verify the information about the puppy. And a DNA test should be included with the information to prove that the animal is truly what Choose says it is. The proposed Ocoee ordinance is bad policy. I had hoped the city of Ocoee officials had done their due diligence and investigation of Chews before letting this proposed ordinance get this far. Unanswered is the documentation that Rosina McVickers submitted to the commission on September 19 before the last commission meeting. Highlights of what she submitted. ASPCA.org paper showing Choose a Puppy receiving puppy mill animals. Bailing Out Benji found that USDA has filed a lawsuit against Maple Hill Puppies, a known supplier of puppies to Choose a Puppy. Choose Adoption, their nonprofit rescue, was formed in 2018, dissolved, and reinstated twice in 3 years. There are no filings with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services showing financial status of this nonprofit charity, and Sunbiz shows principal place of registered agent Crystal Gastara at 502 Stony Brook West, Suite 104. That is the Stony Brook Mail Center. Choose a Puppy has ignored BBB complaints, Mr. Grastara stating at the last meeting he would rather deal face-to-face with customers. Each complaint states that the customer did attempt to deal with the store and were not helped. Not only is this proposed Ocoee ordinance bad policy on so many levels, it would allow a dishonest, cruel business to remain in Ocoee.
Thank you. I will make a couple comments as you go to sit down about your email. I answered you. I didn't get it. You can sit down, ma'am. I'm gonna read this off. One of the things that you just said, I believe that the Orange County Commissioners realize that a solid no as policy is better. It wasn't a solid no. It was a 4-3 vote. 4-3 with Jerry Dimmons, County Commissioner, voting not to do it. 2 other commissioners voted not to do it. And the 4th one, if you read the news, they were wavering and got threatened. They felt threatened and they voted no. So I'm just telling you that's what's in the news. Everybody likes to read and hear it. I'm just telling you the facts. You know, if you're going to read, ma'am, if you're going to read facts, let's pay attention to them. The other thing is, only one commissioner said anything about the county taking care of the problem at the end. Only one commissioner, not the rest of us. The only thing the county needs to do is catch the wild animals, the dogs that are loose, the cats that are loose, the raccoons that are loose. That's what we pay Orange County tax dollars to the animal control, not to do this. I'm not asking them to do this. Nobody did. One person suggested that, only one. All right. That's the same person, the 2 of them. All right, Michelle Chapman.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Michelle Chapman, and I'm a resident of Winter Garden. As the owner of a puppy mill rescue dog, I have experienced firsthand the physical, psychological, and emotional toll on dogs kept in commercial breeding operations. No dog should be forced to live in a cage 24 hours a day like mine was. No dog should be forced to be bred repeatedly to produce puppies for retail profit like mine was. This is not an industry we should condone or support in any way. The revised ordinance appears to have no penalty whatsoever if Choose a Puppy does not comply. Are we as consumers supposed to believe that this company will adhere to this ordinance if there's no consequence if they do not? How are we as consumers supposed to trust a business that has has continued to buy puppies from breeders with welfare violations? Perhaps the bigger question is, why would this business choose to continue to work with breeders with violations? The city of Ocoee has a duty to protect consumers from purchasing sick puppies as much as they have a duty to protect consumers from businesses which choose to partner with companies that have predatory lending practices. Please remember that the safety of our citizens should be paramount to any single business interest. In close, I hope that the city will be forward-thinking, and I strongly urge you to adopt the ordinance that was passed by the Orange County to ban the retail sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, just real quick again, we spent hours the last meeting talking about these same arguments. We heard half of the residents talking in opposition of this business. We had half of the residents or half of the speakers in favor. This commission has heard all of the arguments on both sides. What the commission has not heard is input relating to the specific regulations that are in place. if you have a comment relating to the regulations, it's appropriate to come during the public hearing and speak of that comment. If it's not relating to these new regulations and you're called on to speak, then you can just say, my item has already been covered, and sit down and we can move on. If you're speaking about a regulation, okay to speak. If you're rehashing what was talked about earlier tonight or at the meeting 2 meetings ago, please don't come forward and rehash it.
So if you think that, when I read your name out, please say that, because if not, we're going to be here a while. And what we're going to do is, when you get through, because every one of these are the ones not in the green shirts. Now, if we're going to do this, I'm going to ask them to go fill out forms and let them get up and speak. We're doing the same thing that y'all doing, which is kind of useless to keep going over it. We've heard it. So you just delaying, let's get to the item to vote and go through what we need to go through. Manna, Bolton, Jabert? Huh? Maria. I told you I need my glasses tonight. Maria. I forgot them I forgot them. Yes, ma'am.
All right, here, baby, we're almost done. Hey, one second. Look, Alex, give me 1 second, baby, go, here, come here, look. Sit. Fine.
Over on the next one. Ma'am, over here. There you go.
Okay, hi there. Hi, say hi. All right, thank you all. Marie Bolton-Jobert, thank you for having us out tonight to speak. First time speaking here in Ocoee. I am not a resident of Ocoee. I am a resident of City of Orlando. However, I used to volunteer at Orange County Animal Services before I had a child, and I've helped with numerous rescue organizations. I've lived here 25 years. I know a lot of folks, a lot of dog rescues, cat rescues, people that save raccoons, possums, you name it, I've done it. The new ordinance language does nothing to stop Choose a Puppy from selling puppy mill puppies. Selling sick puppies, misleading consumers, and engaging in predatory lending, and will probably make all these problems worse because it allows for them to expand. And I ask you this, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, where are the mother dogs? Where are they? If you cannot go back there and see their living conditions and meet the parents, it's different than going to a reputable breeder where you can actually meet the mother dogs. Unfortunately, in a lot of these facilities, because it's such big business, because it's lucrative, it's thousands of dollars. And are these people making a commission? And I'm not trying to take away somebody's job, but if you're making thousands of dollars on the backs of an animal that is being raped with a rape stand, it's an existent piece of material that was invented to get these female dogs to be raped, to then procreate over and over again, to have these litters that are then taken away from them for lucrative sales. If you cannot see the mother dogs, this is a concern. If you can't even adopt the mother dog, please think of those female dogs. If you don't care for both the parents, just think of that female dog that's being utilized over and over again as profit. They get cancer, they get sick, and then they die. And that's not right. And then all these little puppies go to homes, but their mother is abused, and that's just not right. So please think of that. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Lisa Franchina?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Franchina. I'm an Orange County Animal Services volunteer, former chair of the Orange County Animal Services Advisory Board, and a volunteer humane policy leader with the Humane Society of the United States. I live in Orlando. I'm here tonight to urge you not to adopt this ordinance, which would exempt Choose a Puppy from a ban on all retail sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits. The owners of Choose a Puppy stood before you last month and told you that they had used one breeder in the past with USDA violations, and they have not used anyone else who had violations. This is not true. There was not one breeder who was problematic. There were multiple breeders. There still are multiple breeders. And Orange County Animal Services has these records. This is not innuendo. You don't have to take my word for it. This is the truth. You're choosing to exempt a business that's not worthy of the protection that you're trying to give them. They haven't been honest with you. They continue to source puppies from these puppy mills in the future. That's their business model, and it will continue to be their business model until it is banned. Commissioner Oliver, I know you believe that you can look out for the welfare of the animals and consumers by passing an ordinance that will hold the owners of Choose a Puppy accountable. I have to respectfully disagree with you. The fact that the proposed ordinance, it has no enforcement framework whatsoever. There are no consequences to any of these violations. And who's going to ensure compliance with the ordinance? Orange County Animal Services are really the only people who are qualified to do that. But with all due respect, Orange County Animal Services reports to the Orange County Commission. This board does not have the authority to order them to enforce the terms of this ordinance. You just don't. And, yes, sir.
Did you not hear what I just said a while ago? We are not going to ask that, ma'am. I just said that plainly while ago. I'm just telling you, we're not going to ask that, so go ahead.
Well, I'm addressing the terms of your order, Mayor, and I'm sorry, I respectfully disagree. I'm looking at the wording
That
here.
hasn't been passed yet.
Well, it's your proposed ordinance.
There you go.
Okay. It not only allows Choose a Puppy to sell puppies indefinitely, it also allows them to expand to a new, larger location so they can sell even more puppies. And as they will be the only store in Orange County permitted to sell puppies, I think we can safely assume they will take you up on that offer. So we're talking about more puppies from puppy mills, more wrong to consumers, and more predatory lending. This ordinance doesn't say that they can't continue to offer this quite outrageous financing with interest rates up to 200%. So I don't see where the consumer protection is here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give her another 20 seconds. She wants to say something else. I don't want any more comments from the audience. Okay? You taking away time too? Go ahead.
Additionally, this ordinance does not prohibit Choose a Puppy from continuing to source puppies from puppy mills with USDA violations. There's nothing in there that prohibits that. Nor does it require them to advise consumers the puppy mills they source from have USDA violations. And as another speaker said, you're going to give them the name of the breeder who's just going to have to chase it down. I don't see what protection is there. Thank you.
Hazel Stevens.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I know how important home rule is to you, and I do want to state that I am a resident of the city of Ocoee. And I want to state that the proposed ordinance requires Choose a Puppy to post a conspicuous notice as to where the customers can file a complaint with the city, with Orange County Animal Services, and the Consumer Protection Division of the Attorney General regarding their trade practices, unfair and deceptive. But absent is any requirement for a notice about filing a report with the Better Business Bureau or with the Department of Agriculture regarding the statutes and regulations about the transport of animals for sale into the state of Florida. As you know, complaints are already on file against Choose a Puppy with the Better Business Bureau and the Department of Agriculture, and the city needs to conduct due diligence in investigating these existing complaints before granting such a sweeping exemption. At the last hearing, this is what is evident, that this needs to be done, because at the last hearing, Choose a Puppy represented that it doesn't respond to complaints filed with entities like the Better Business Bureau because they want to deal with people directly, even though the Better Business Bureau shows that the people listing their complaints in each case first attempted to resolve the issue directly with Choose a Puppy. So we're dealing with issues with sick animals, unpaid vet bills covered by the guarantees, failure to provide the agreed-upon breed, oral misrepresentations, failure to disclose interest rates and finance charges before the sale, administrative fees approaching 50% of the return of the animal, and of course, the business has an F there. The Department of Agriculture has also received 7 complaints in the past 3 years. 2 of those complaints were referred to other agencies. Before Choose a Puppy is granted an exclusive monopoly on the commercial sale of dogs and other animals, they should respond to the city regarding each of the existing complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau and the Department of Agriculture, including the efforts to resolve those complaints. The proposed ordinance simply does not do enough. The ordinance should require that Choose a Puppy provide the customer a written notice of not only where complaints can be filed with the city, Orange County Animal Control, and the Attorney General, but also the Department of Agriculture and the Better Business Bureau. Granting an exclusive right to do business with the city is an extreme measure within the city, and the oversight responsibility should be commensurate with the right granted. Penalties of noncompliance are not spelled out in the ordinance. And with 24 complaints, just counting the Better Business Bureau and the existing Department of Ag, these
Thank you,
and the
Go
and
ahead.
predatory lending.
Thank you. Brian Wilson. Your name and address?
Yeah, Brian Wilson, Winter Springs, Florida.
Oh, it says Ocoee, sorry.
Oh. So I wanted to address the 3 pictures you have here, and the reason why I wanted to introduce these to you, these are dogs that are at puppy mills that are actually sourced by Choose a Puppy, according to USDA records, as well as public records from the different communities they're in. Your ordinances, no matter how many conditions and clauses you put in there, will do absolutely nothing to protect the Newfoundland breeder dog from Nebraska. It'll do nothing to protect the dogs that are crammed into tiny cages there in Missouri, and the very obvious ribs you can see in the breeding dogs coming out of Kansas. Because Ocoee has no authority to go out to those other states. I applaud the city commission for trying to do what they wanted to do with the previous meeting. They didn't want to pick winners and losers. They didn't want to try to create a monopoly. And I want to applaud the city attorney for trying to write an ordinance that he's not just trying to thread a needle, he's trying to thread a corkscrew here, y'all. So the best thing to do to protect these animals and the consumers in Ocoee, outside Ocoee, all of Orange County and all of Florida, is by just letting the Orange County ordinance stand. This was not intended as a punitive ordinance. It was not intended as a punishment. It was intended to solve a problem that Orange County saw through their animal services, through their complaints they've received, and through, as you've heard numerous times now, predatory lending. So the solution is not to try to shoehorn something in, and really it wasn't even to be punishing for Choose a Puppy. Choose a Puppy can continue to exist as Choose a Supply, because the pet supply industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. All we're asking is they stop selling dogs and cats and stop harming animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Gwen Kellerman.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Gwen Kellerman. I'm on the board of directors for Happy Trails Animal Rescue. We are located in Orlando, Florida, and we serve Ocoee residents on a regular basis. On reading the second version of the ordinance, I think we just really need to stop and be realistic and think about the customers who go to a puppy store. It's an emotional purchase. It's a purchase a lot of times families will go and they don't have a lot of education. They're looking to the retailer to provide that. And when they go with their children and they see the puppy and they want to take it home immediately, regardless of how much it costs or where it came from or whether it's healthy, let's be realistic. I don't think that posting a sign on the wall is really going to get that behavior to be changed. So I just want to implore you that the ordinance really doesn't have any teeth, and it's really like asking the fox to guard the hen house. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Day.
Good evening. This regulation is weak and useless. It does not prevent the sale of dogs from puppy mills, and it doesn't provide any criminal penalties if they do. If they wanted to prevent the sale of dogs from puppy mills, then they would put a provision in there which would make it so undesirable to even fail once that they would be shut down. They don't want that. Also, employees are part of this misleading message. In my opinion, they are accomplices. So there's no penalty for them misleading or whitewashing or just telling stories about how the mother dogs live. Also, we know the USD licenses are weak. It's basically ag laws for puppy crops. Breeding facilities, if I could put one provision, I mean, if you put this provision in, then let's just go for it. How about we can visit any puppy mill unannounced during a daylight hours with no threat of being arrested, the use of a camera to see around at our choice, anytime we want. I'd say during daylight hours. Or why not just do the breeding right here in Orlando? Why does it have to be from somewhere else? So I don't understand why this is so hard to do the right thing. I mean, if you want to sell from reputable breeders, just do it right here where we can see it. We can't see it. And all these people wearing the shirts, you know, God bless them. You guys care about animals. We have so many animals that need homes. Dogs that are in homes right now that need to be rehomed. Dogs that are in shelters, dogs on the streets. What about the transport of the animals across state lines? Where's the accountability there? There's nothing written in the provisions for that. And the warranty, of course, does not prevent animal cruelty. It says nothing about rehoming or about dogs that age out, dogs that become juveniles that are either usually thrown away or disposed in horrible conditions. So I don't understand why this is that complicated. If you don't want dogs sold at from puppy mills, then write it into these 6 points. Just make it that clear. And if they want to reinvent their business, then reinvent it. You know? I mean, I can't imagine these people don't care about the mother dogs, but there's so much mismessaging going on. So I'd like to convert that energy, that feeling that I love animals, and let's start saving lives. And if you want to breed animals, fine, but just make it right here. Make it evident that we can see it. So I get what's going on with these points, but they're weak and they're ineffective. Okay, so you can complain to law enforcement all you want. I've done it. We know the laws are weak, and what we're trying to do is pass a law that's been a long time coming, a long time. And now that it's finally here, for me it's been over 20 years since I got involved in anti-puppy mill campaigning. And now that it's finally here, we're trying to take it away. So, I mean, in the end, this is all about the mother dogs. I know these people here. I know they have a heart, but let's convert that into the right direction and care about the dogs and puppy mills and just make this a no-go.
Thank you. Bill Gaskin.
Good evening to all you guys. I wanted to come and address your 6 points. You kind of read through them really quick, so I'm not really sure, but I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I believe the warranty that you're trying to state is only covering the dog if it has been deceased. So all of these other bills that people have come up and spoke about, who's going to pay for that? Is that something that the city of Ocoee is going to set money aside to take care of that, or is it only going to be for that death? And Mayor, you were talking about Orange County Animal Services. You were saying not patrolling, but I believe in the proposal that you are asking for Orange County Animal Services to look over this. So go ahead.
Only we vote on that. We haven't done that.
And that's why I said proposal, sir. That's why I said proposal.
So we don't need to mention it.
If you vote yes tonight, it's something that would be in there.
That's right. If it passes with that in there.
Absolutely, and that's what we're looking to talk about.
No,
So-
I'm not voting with that caveat in there.
Also, looking at these contracts, so you only have 6 points that you're trying to cover, but really, when is the last time that a contract was read? I'm sure when you go into businesses and stuff like that, we're talking about the contracts within that you post, but how many people really read contracts? I work for the airlines. When's the last time you actually read a contract there? So we're going to post these contracts for people to look at, but how many people are really going to look at those contracts and know what's going on with them? There's a lot. So we talk about the mothers. I know Maria had talked about mothers. So these are my dogs. I printed out pictures for you guys so you can take them home and look at them. So these are female dogs from the breeders. So these are actually my personal dogs that I rescued here locally. So these come from the breeders. So this one here, within a month, she was looking way better, but this is directly from the breeders. So this is what the mother dogs look like. But don't worry, this is exactly 2 days before we rescued her. That's what it looks like out there. You see this here, that sad face? Don't worry, a month later, oh, look at her vulva right there. It's protruding that we thought that it was a male dog when we took it in. That's how bad it is. That's what we're looking at. But look at her face now. That's the face you want to see. That's not what you're seeing from these puppy mills, and that's where they're getting theirs from. Here's this one here. Or how about these eyes? You see her cute little face there? But she's completely blind because both of her eyes, and they didn't want to take care of it. That's what we're talking about here. That's what you're talking about with your 6 points, and it's not acceptable. It's something that you need to write it much better. If you want to continue to do this, then write it much better. We can have them bring in adoptable animals and have them have adoptable animals in there. But your 6 points that you're putting out there really cover nothing at all. So thanks so much. If you want the pictures, I have them. I'll see you afterwards.
I would say that if you're flying Southwest, you better read the ticket.
I'll help you with any contract. You don't know your contracts. You have to read the contracts, sir.
So, which contract are you talking about?
I work for an airline, and
Yeah.
I actually...
Oh, don't worry. My wife was a travel agent. We read them. Those are the McVicker.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Rosina McVicker. I reside in the city of Orlando, which is in Orange County, same county the city of Ocoee is in. I'm here, first of all, to ask you to vote against this ordinance. I understand you want us to speak just to the revised ordinance, and I'll be happy to do that. I believe you've received packages of information by email from our little group of researchers with some of the documentation that shows that the practices and the conditions that these dogs are raised under are not appropriate. I also, by the way, am the vice chair of the Orange County Animal Services Advisory Board, so have had access to the information of the CVI reports and the USDA reports that name numerous kennels that supply multiple pet stores in Orange County, including Ocoee. The conditions and the reports are horrible. So what I would like to say to your new ordinance, and I realize I'm echoing what a lot of other folks have said, it has no teeth. It's not enforceable. You want folks who are running a business to post a sign telling people where to file a complaint. You want those same folks to report to you any complaints that they receive. Again, I know 5 other people have said it, but that's the fox guarding the hen house. The Orange County ordinance, which I understand you folks do not care for, clearly spells out enforcement for offenses. There are requirements, and there's responsibilities, and there are enforcement options if those responsibilities are not met. For example, in the Orange County ordinance, the first violation is a fine of $110. The second violation is a fine of $265. The third violation is a mandatory court appearance. There is nothing in the ordinance that you all are proposing that gives any enforcement power to whatever entity you ask to enforce it, whether you're asking code enforcement, the police department, animal services. Nobody has any ability to enforce something if the ordinance does not have that provision. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Penny Christian.
Good evening. I am a resident of the city of Ocoee. I'm not sure how I feel about that right now. As
sorry
I'm
to hear
going
that.
through this, it says, public containing contact information for the city of Ocoee for reporting complaints. Respectfully, I've sat back here, and if our own mayor's not gonna look out while we're speaking, what good is it gonna do to come to you if our dog dies from that store? Now, regarding your little ordinances that you got there, did you know Choose a Pups does give a warranty? Because I bought one there. Did you know that you could sit here and say that Choose a Pup sends the pup to the vet? However, if you have any knowledge, when it comes to parvo, that doesn't do you any good that one time around. Had the dog 5 days. For elderly uncle whose wife died and dog died and daughter in prison for beating him up, and the puppy dies, okay? So your ordinances, I chased down the breeder. I did it, based off the microchip. So everything you had proposed in there, I did that, and it didn't save that puppy. So your ordinances, you might want to rethink these and put a little common sense into them, because when I talk to the Florida Department of Agriculture, it comes down to you guys. That's who it comes down to. All of you all sitting up here making that decision on what happens inside that store. Post all you want, but it's misleading, it's a lie, you guys got nothing. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. No clapping. My job as the mayor is to let everybody speak if we can. I do that, but you can't speak from the audience. That's the rules anywhere you go. So that's the way it is. And we do, listen, if I didn't, I wouldn't have went through 30 or 40 of these speaker forms, which we still could go through more. So, sorry about that. We all got a job to do. Karen Snitz? Huh? Okay.
I live in Ocoee. I have emailed all of you 2 to 3 times. I've yet to receive a reply from any of my emails. I am a resident, 24 years. I happen to live across the street from a commissioner. I don't get to see him very often, but we do say hi from time to time. Never brought this position up. All I'm going to say to you is Hazel Stevens spoke, Christina Spillane, Brian Wilson, Dr. Nanette Wagner, and Rosina McVicker. All my points were already addressed by them. I do have one question regarding the warranty issue. And it's actually a question probably more towards Choose a Puppy, but because it's your ordinance, when the puppy dies, because I assume that that's the only way to return a puppy if it has a congenital issue, unless they are allowed to bring the puppy back and get a new puppy, what happens to that? We'll say it's a live puppy. What happens to that puppy? Is that in your ordinance? Where's that puppy going to go? How is Choose a Puppy going to dispose of that puppy that's got a congenital defect? So that's just one of the questions that you should look at with your ordinance, because there is a disposal issue. I don't think they have on site that type of veterinary incinerator, or do they do euthanasia there? So I am curious, because I am a concerned citizen, and there's a lot of diseases and health and safety issues on that regarding a dead puppy and or a puppy that is sick or congenital or has an issue that may not die, but the person doesn't want it anymore because they want to return it. So what's going to happen to that puppy? And I need you to explain to me what that will happen. How is your ordinance going to fix that? So can you answer me any of that?
Not down, it's your turn, go ahead.
I'm just asking. Is that
No,
going to be a
ma'am, your
discussion
time's
tonight
ticking.
that you're going to have a figuring out?
Just like,
Okay? So that isn't a question that needs to be answered. Because I would think that would fall under the county having to deal with it. I'm not sure, but certainly it's something you guys need to think about. Thank you. And I would like you to respond to my email.
well, I was gonna wait till afterwards to respond to your email. We could sit down, and I'll tell you. Be glad to. I didn't think I needed to call you because I'd have had to went through the mayor or somebody in Orlando or Orange County. You told us we didn't go through the hierarchy. Didn't you also put on Facebook the next day after the meeting that we were all unintelligent up here? So I didn't figure I needed to talk to you. So, okay. Yeah, ma'am, I know where you live, but you also put on there none of us had any intelligence, so I didn't figure it would be any good. Yes, ma'am, I got the copy at the house. Okay. So, just to let you know, I think these people up here are pretty sharp. Stephanie Grillo.
Hello. My name is Stephanie, and I am an Ocoee resident. I am here to support Choose a Puppy, to tell you all that I agree with the ordinances and the regulations that we are discussing tonight. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I got Crystal, which is Crystal? All right, well, wait. I got one more here, Nicole Wilson. She out back? I haven't finished yet. Will you let me get to it? I'll take care of it. Okay? No.
So much covered. So I don't mind if I do have a handout, if you want to just hold on to it, I can hit a couple points and be out of here.
Hand it out, then we'll put it in public record.
Okay, that's perfect, thank you. I've got one. Sorry. Hitting meetings today, I just want to make sure I have all this stuff in here, 'cause I know you all have been inundated. Sorry, make sure you take your time and dive into this. Now it's really too far, so I really want the extra big. There we go.
Two more.
I'm well, how are you?
I'm gonna ask them. I'm tired of this.
So I did email this up. I just wanted to make sure you had a copy. I know you all have been inundated, and I appreciate it. I wanted it to be on the record. Really, it's just I know there's been a lot of opinions, and I just wanted to make sure that I had some of the facts that were brought forward by Animal Services when they did their research, and I wanted to make sure that we were sharing those things. That, really wasn't trailblazing what Orange County did with the ordinance. We were actually the last of our Central Florida group. Seminole, Osceola, Lake, they all have enacted a similar ordinance. And I just want to say that, even when you look at the municipalities, there's something like 56 municipalities that have taken this on as an ordinance, and the Florida legislature is actually even discussing something statewide, so there'd be some consistency. So I just want to make sure that, didn't want you to think we were way out there in left field, and also understanding that the purposes were, twofold. Obviously, there was the idea of protecting consumers, and in that PowerPoint, you can see some pages from the website at Choose a Puppy that were of concern to some of the people that came forward. And one of those specifically was that there is no price points listed. That if you go to shop for an animal there, that they funnel you to a tab that says, for financing, click here. And there's never a warning that says that there is a third party at that point that's stepping in to do the lending. There's never a warning about any type of consumer protections, or that it's not them themselves. It really is under their website that tab is, so that's a concern. And then additionally, the state attorney for the state of Florida investigated and filed about misrepresentation of breeders, and some of the breeders that were identified were the same ones that were listed as having supplied inventory at Choose a Puppy. And so what you see in that packet and some of the things I introduced, on their website, they actually highlight and introduce one of their main breeders. It's a Kansas breeder by the name of, what's her name? Rebecca Eiler. And there are very specific violations within this mass breeder of
animal cruelty, some very inhumane conditions, and that's not even the worst one. There's actually, the Justice Department just shut down one of the main breeders that was listed as an importer, and so in the information I sent you all from the USDA, and as many people have already highlighted, the USDA only has something like 100 inspectors for several thousand big breeders. So if they have been able to identify these very specific conditions in the breeders, that we now have the records that come here to Central Florida and very specifically to Choose a Puppy, then I just want to make sure that I've got the evidence in front of you. So basically, one of them is currently being, has a cease and desist order by the Justice Department. 2 others have fairly numerous complaints, which include things like infectious diseases. So I just wanted to make sure you had all that. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. I am here.
If you need another minute, you can have it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really don't, just because people really did a great job of highlighting, I felt like, some of the deficiencies in the ordinance. My obvious concern is that there is a difficulty in the ask of self-reporting in a situation where there isn't any actual regulatory oversight, right? So if you're posting a phone number to call, here is who we buy these from. Well, we know who you buy them from. We've got all those records. They're all in here. What we also know is that they've been under investigation. So that doesn't help the consumer, right? So now we've really advertised who they're coming from, and here's where we source them, but without knowing that those particular sources are also egregious violators of and really have been identified as cruel breeders. It doesn't do that consumer any good. So I worry about that. I worry about the warranty, like many other people stated. This isn't a pair of jeans. If the dog gets sick and it gets returned, what do you think happens to that dog? What do you think happens? That dog is either, well, actually it happened a couple weeks ago. Orange County Animal Services rescued a dog out of a dumpster. It was a purebred. Looked like a juvenile and didn't make it to the emergency vet, but it was likely a discarded puppy mill dog that wasn't purchased in its prime, which is when they're little and fuzzy. So that's pretty much where I am with the information I wanted to share. I just wanted to make sure you all knew that I understand that these are not easy decisions to make and that you're hearing from lots of people, but there was really 2 aspects that Orange County wanted to address, and one was the consumer protection and the other one was the animal cruelty. And so we just wanted to make sure that that was something that I got you the evidence that we had in front of us when we made those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Noreen Dorkin? Well, you wrote it this time, you printed it.
I did that just for you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, it's lovely to see such a packed room today. Okay, my name is Noreen Dworkin. I'm the editor of Vox Populi. We cover politics, government, and social justice issues. Some of you all may have seen the article I wrote yesterday on Choose a Puppy. So basically, my question today is to the commission and to the mayor. Our story yesterday showed that we had certification of veterinary inspections documenting that Choose a Puppy is buying from commercial breeders that have made, we highlighted 5 of them, that made the Humane Society of the United States Horrible 100 list, including the one that they feature on their website. Commissioner Wilson just mentioned her. Her name is Rebecca Eiler, and she's of Creekside Kennels in Kansas. Commissioner Wilson also mentioned Daniel Gingrich, who has been shut down by the USDA. He has the distinction of being the very first USDA breeder to be shut down. He is also likely facing animal cruelty charges. So my main question to the mayor as the leader of this community and the commissioners as the leaders of this community is, do you feel that given the presentation that Choose a Puppy made last month, do you feel that you've been misled by the presentation that they gave in terms of the way that they said that they vetted their breeders, They said that they vetted their breeders. They went throughout the country and looked at their breeders very carefully, that if there was a single violation, that they put them on a blacklist, that they looked at them very, very carefully. Do you feel that you were misled, that the people of Ocoee were misled? Do you feel that they have been honest? And that is my question to you. I'm looking for comment for Vox Populi. Do you think that these people are being honest with you as the commission and with the people of Ocoee?
Your time's going, so you better finish.
Well, then in that case, I will take my last couple of seconds. Since the Grostars did not bother to return Vox Populi's callback, I will ask them directly. Now that everybody knows where you source your puppies from, what do you have to say to the people of Ocoee?
They're not going to talk to you either, ma'am. This is not a debate. Finish your comments, and then we'll start with them.
Okay. Well, then I will take that as a no comment from the Grostars, that they have nothing to say to the people of Ocoee, now that the truth is out about where they get their puppies from. Everybody should know that they are buying them from big commercial breeders. So I would like to have comment from the commission about where you think, whether they are being honest with the commission about what they said in
Thank you,
September.
ma'am. Sit down.
Thank you.
Kindly, gently.
Let's see, I think, all right, here's a question. How many of you that are in the green shirts, or how many of you, all the people that, I've got 30, about 25, 26 that was against puppy mills, all of you stand up that's for it, where we don't have to talk.
For puppy mills or
No, for you, the ordinance, for the ordinance. All right, that could have been with filling out the forms also. So thank God they didn't. Do any of you want to speak? They're not saying we're not doing this the government way. So unlike some places, if you want to speak, I will let you. But that spoke enough right there. So it's a free world where everybody can have their own opinions, but seems, if you want to speak, yes, sir. Young lady, I'll let you because you did a great job. Don't forget to fill a form out.
Hey, Choose Found. Hi, governors, mayors, and all that good stuff, commissioners. So, my name is Felicia. In case you didn't notice my shirt, I'm here to support Choose a Puppy. And there are a lot of us here tonight, as we just established, in this room and in the back hall. And many, including Ocoee residents. We could have flooded your inboxes with bunches of emails, from people from all over Florida and out of state. But we all showed up here so that you could see us and see in our eyes how much we support this business. Last time we were all here, many of us stood up to tell our own stories. Tonight, we all stand here to tell you that this is a great ordinance and tell you about the healthy puppies we purchased and reasons why we believe that Choose a Puppy is a great asset to Ocoee. But instead of taking up a lot of your time, because we'll be here all night, I was chosen by everyone to come up here. Everyone that supports Choose a Puppy, please stand up once again to show the commissioners and the mayor that you agree with this ordinance and that we are voting on tonight. Part of the ordinance says that Choose a Puppy has to give a lifetime guarantee. Lifetime! And that's a great guarantee. No other place, no other shelter, no other rescue, no other private breeder even, has this extensive customer guarantee and all the services like Choose a Puppy does. People that want to ban all pet stores, including Choose a Puppy, are saying a lot of things that aren't true and that hurt our hearts, really. Choose is filled with good people. The money and the time spent taking care of the puppies in itself wouldn't happen if they were bad people. The thousands of customers that love Choose a Puppy wouldn't call, visit, or recommend the store to friends and family if they were bad people. These are good people. We all are here because we know the truth about Choose a Puppy, because we bought our happy, healthy puppies from there, and we work there every day, They follow the regulations that are required, offer health guarantees, training lifetime services, and pay for all of the vaccines so the puppies are better protected, and customers won't have to spend more money after purchase. All because they care. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. All right. Now, Crystal, you got an extra couple of minutes also, because you're with the thing, like I did Commissioner Wilson. All right.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. Thank you for taking the time to put together this compliance piece for the ordinance grandfathering in Choose a Puppy. Compliance is an important aspect of any business structure. We have sent approximately 6,500 puppies to their forever homes, which is a clear indication that the public wants the right to buy from a highly regulated pet store. And with many options, they chose Choose a Puppy in Ocoee. Regarding the notion that Ocoee would be creating a monopoly by grandfathering in Choose a Puppy, it simply isn't true. It is Orange County that is attempting to create a monopoly by passing the pet store ban and forcing all of the pet stores in the county to offer only shelter pets, taking away consumer choice and trying to circumvent home rule in the city of Ocoee. By grandfathering in Choose a Puppy, Ocoee would be ensuring that there isn't a monopoly and that proposed purpose-bred pets would be available from a local pet store, so Ocoee residents would have a choice and wouldn't have to travel far to be forced to adopt or buy a puppy sight unseen from the internet. Shelter pets are a great option for consumers, but it shouldn't be the only option. I don't know if you are aware, but shelter and rescue pets and breeders that sell less than 20 puppies per year are specifically exempt from the Florida State Pet Lemon Law. That requires extensive consumer guarantees, a veterinarian examination, considerable vaccinations, and detailed written documentation. That means that a very large portion of pets offered to the public are without consumer protection, and that puts consumers at risk. The state of Florida created the Pet Lemon Law to protect consumers. The Orange County pet store ban makes that lemon law obsolete. Tonight, Ocoee can correct that mistake. In regards to the continued false claims that Choose a Puppy offers predatory loans, as listed on their website, here is a small sampling of other retailers that use the same financing companies. Universal Jewelers in Ocoee, Milan Fine Jewelers in Ocoee, Home Shopping Furniture in Ocoee, Unity Funeral Home, Highland Memorial Gardens, Midas Auto Repair, Meineke, Hudson's Furniture Store, Amazon, Lowe's, Target. Why is my business being singled out when so many other retailers use the same financing companies? In regards to recent claims that Choose a Puppy buys from horrible breeders, it's not true. We select our breeders based upon a wide variety of criteria, which many include personal recommendations, in-person visits, phone conversations, documentation, and USDA inspection reports. We also reevaluate as additional information becomes available and have dropped breeders from our program if a situation warrants or they do not continue to uphold their requirements. I could go into more detail regarding the specifics, but I have just about run out of time. Thank you for your time.
Did you get the 4 minutes? 5?
No, there was only 3.
You get 2. I said you get 2 like I did for Commissioner Wilson. You got 2 more minutes.
Awesome. All right. So in recent allegations on social media, 4 breeders were mentioned out of the hundreds that we purchased from, which actually I went back and I double-checked my numbers. I know in the last meeting we said hundreds. It's more into the thousands that we have the availability to. There are claims that we purchased puppies from a breeder that has a relative with issues. A person isn't guilty by association. Simply because they're related to someone, it's not relevant. The breeder in question is federally licensed and inspected. We purchased approximately 12 puppies from this breeder between 2020 and 2021. Online federal inspection reports show that every single inspection report, a total of 8 inspections dating back to 2015, shows 0 violations. Daniel Gingrich, which I know has been the hot topic. So another recent allegation claims that we have been purchasing puppies from this breeder that is now facing a federal lawsuit. This is false. We did purchase some puppies from this breeder after reviewing his online inspection reports and seeing multiple inspections with 0 violations from 2019 through March of 2021, along with 2 non-critical violations which the United States Department of Agriculture defines as, quote, something that is not having a serious or severe impact on the welfare of an animal at the time of inspection, such as a clogged drain outside of an animal enclosure, unquote. As soon as we saw that he began to have serious violations on his inspections, we stopped buying puppies from him. We didn't continue to buy puppies, and we stopped well before all of this became public. This is a clear example of the animal welfare regulations working. The breeder started out okay and for whatever reason became a bad apple. We utilized the system and stopped using a bad apple as soon as we became aware of it.
Finish that up. Okay.
What?
You finish real quick.
Oh, Rebecca Ehler, Creekside Kennels, federally licensed and inspected. We have purchased puppies and reviewed their online federal inspection reports that are available to the public. Every single USDA inspection report from 2021 back to 2015, 7 years worth of inspections, show not a single violation.
If you have it, turn them in, turn those into the files to the city clerk. What you read off. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, then we're going to come back and bring it up to the dais and do a vote. All right, we're going to start back. I got one here. I was stuck behind one. Heidi Hardman. Sorry about that.
Hi, and thank you all for listening and for being here on both sides. My name is Heidi Hardman. I'm president of Polka Dogs Pet Rescue. There are a lot of ways to make money. You can sell insurance. You can sell jewelry. You can sell real estate. You can provide counseling services. You have thousands of choices. Or you can sell child porn, deal drugs, participate in sex trafficking, or support puppy mills. All of the latter deal in profiting from the suffering of others. I know firsthand the suffering of dogs and puppy mills. This is Christy and Angie, who were puppy mill dogs. They had the breeder's name posted. They were dumped at 10 years old in the shelter. With the breeder's name, we knew who their parents were. We knew who the breeders were. These dogs had no vetting. The breeder was licensed. No vetting, no history of vetting. They were blind, horrific infections. We got them vetted. We did everything we could for them. 1 year, they died, both of them. I just want you to look at those faces and say they deserved that. So this thing about exchanging a puppy, would you return your children? Say, you know what, this one's sick. Let me return that one and get another one. What does happen to that puppy? We've had people surrender dogs that were purchased at puppy stores. The puppy stores did nothing. They said, you can bring the dog back and we'll give you another one. This dog is part of my heart. They are my family. I don't return and exchange them like a pair of pants. Like as somebody else mentioned, these are not inanimate objects. These are living, breathing things giving you unconditional love. So if that was your dog, would you want to see the mom? I would. I want to know who I'm buying for. If I can't see the parents and the condition that they're living in, then I don't trust buying that dog. That cute puppy has a mom who is caged up and suffering beyond your worst imagination. If you can't meet them in person and visit the parents of the pup you are buying, well, then ignorance is bliss, at least for you. And in that case, it is pure ignorance. Mahatma Gandhi said, the greatest of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. What kind of nation and community do we want to be? Don't turn a blind eye to the suffering. It's real, and only you can change that. Be the change, be their voice. If you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. In the beginning, the mayor asked God, right in front of us, to do our due diligence. Let's do that.
Thank you. Okey-dokey. All right. Now, closing the public hearing, we're gonna bring it back up here. All right. Read it. You already read it. Verify the statements there.
Yeah, let me, Mayor and Commissioners, I do want to clarify one issue been brought up about the city putting the enforcement mechanism on Orange County Animal Services. That was certainly not the intent of this ordinance. The ordinance references Orange County Animal Services in 3 locations. One is in the notice to all consumers with the contact information for Orange County Animal Services, along with the contact information for the City of Ocoee and the Attorney General in case a customer wants to contact or file a complaint. So one reference to Orange County is just in a notice of who a customer can contact. 2 is the pet store owner is to provide copies of complaints that are filed with Orange County Animal Services to the City of Ocoee. And then the third reference is that in addition to inspections by the Orange County Animal Services, the City of Ocoee has the right to inspect. So this ordinance does not impose any obligation on Orange County Animal Service. It doesn't require them to take any enforcement action. It merely alerts the public of Orange County Animal Service existence and contact information for that entity.
All right. You good? Anybody else? You got anything else? Nope. All right, Commissioner Brinson. Start with you. Got any questions? Or we can make a motion. You can make a motion now, or you can discuss it when we get to the second.
No, I'll wait.
Huh?
I'll wait to discuss it.
That's what we're doing. Is that what we're doing now?
Well, we need a motion to the second, and then we can discuss it. Then we can have discussion.
So you're looking for me to make the motion?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying we need a motion.
Okay.
I don't care who makes it. I can't.
What? Yeah, well, what?
We're voting on the revisions that we put in that last meeting.
Right, well, because I want to discuss this, and so I want to make
that's
sure
what
that
I'm
we're
saying.
able to discuss it. So I'll make a motion, we approve the ordinance.
All right. Do I hear a second? Nobody's going to second it? Hold that gavel. I'll second it. All right, I second it. And then everybody-
Second made by Mayor Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, want that
All
back
right.
for discussion?
Okay. All right. Now, discussion.
All right, this this issue is highly contentious. We knew going in it would be very emotional. It's heartfelt across the board. I know that I'm going to speak just for America. We love our pets. We really do. And unfortunately, there are such things as breeders. And going after pet stores is, I think it's the low-hanging fruit. Because if you purchase a car that's not doing right, you take it back to the dealer, but at some point, the manufacturer is going to give you a new car. It's not going to be the dealership that's going to eat that cost. It's going to go back, and that's a breeder thing. So I think we should, the effort should really be focused in on the breeders. And I don't know if I don't know if anyone can speak to that. I don't know if the members here of the commission have the information, if there are any breeders here in Florida, and if they are they regulated? But it sounds like, we're talking about breeders in the Midwest. And the breeders in the Midwest are the ones who I think you should be focusing your attention on. And if the pet store, in this case, Choose a Puppy, is not operating above board, and they're doing things that are unethical and immoral, I think it's truly an opportunity where we, as a community, as a commission, and as a consumer, needs to exercise caveat emptor, and that is buyer beware. You walk into a store, and if a finance company can get 118% interest out of you, that's on the consumer. I don't think the government, in this case, the city of Ocoee, really should be weighing into that transaction, because we don't want to overstep our boundaries here. And it's tough, because this is a tough subject matter, because we're talking about pets. And I'm actually taken aback when we compare returning puppies as to this, the same as returning children. I think that's just ludicrous. That's not something that we should even compare. But we're talking about puppy mills, but we're really focusing in on pet stores. And so with this particular pet store, we're looking at having this pet store possibly be the only pet store in the city, maybe the only pet store in the county. That's a huge responsibility that we're placing on the shoulders of this pet store. But if this commission approve this ordinance and adopt it and enact it, Choose a Puppy, you guys are going to be on the hook for this. And I do mean it. I mean, because just as we went through a lot to get there, should we adopt this, we can rescind this ordinance just like that. And you don't want that, because now you have time. This Orange County gives you 12 months. This commission may not give you 12 months. It may give you 30 days. And this ordinance has teeth in that we can rescind it at any time. However, the struggle that I'm having is pet stores. We're targeting pet stores. And I know we talk about, it's been talked about that the consumers can get pets from rescue shelters. Well, some of these rescue animals are damaged. There's trouble.
Hey.
Listen. If you cannot say they're not damaged if you're saying that you're getting them from breeders, and then
Nobody said?
Hold on,
Listen, Commissioner. If the next person speaks out when he's talking, they're going to go out, ma'am, you can make your little pantomime stuff, but if you make any more comments, you're going to go outside. Okay? Let him speak.
Can I say something, Mayor?
First, let me say something,
Okay.
Commissioner. Everybody, one thing about America and the USA, you're supposed to all be able to have a talk. No matter what, a couple of you seem to dislike Ocoee now because we don't act like we want to go what you're going. But that's not the way America's supposed to be, folks. It's a democracy that says you can make your opinion. Except, it's kind of like the old guy said, we're going to give you a good trial and then we're going to hang you. That's what it sounds like. So that ain't what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be everybody gets a fair talk. So let the commissioner finish.
Yeah, so, again, some of these animals in shelters are damaged, and we know that, whether they're physically damaged, emotionally damaged, whether they're sick, whether they have injuries, or their bodies are trying to recover or can't recover from some of the treatments they've had. That's factual, and that's not something that you can say is not, because they're there. However, even with that said, I heard someone say that there's a scarcity of animals is a good thing, because that'll allow people to adopt more from shelters. Well, not everyone wants a shelter animal. So we're facing a tough decision up here, and it's not something that I take. I mean, it's a heavy burden for us to bear. And this is not something that, it's not a winner or a loser in this case. We have to try to make the best decision for the city. And in this case, probably for surrounding municipalities as well. Because if this ordinance passes and Choose a Puppy is in fact in business 12 months from now, is going to be at our hand. And so we have to take that into consideration because we have to do what is best. So a cease and desist order has been given to some breeders. I'm not sure why it hasn't been given to others. But I think that's bad breeders are excellent targets. I think they should go after them. If we have bad pet stores, if Choose a Puppy turns out to be a bad pet store, then we should focus our attention and target them to get them out of business as well. But right now, I'm torn because I've heard a lot about breeders, and I don't hear a lot about bad things that will prompt me to say Choose a Puppy should not be in business in the city of Ocoee. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be convinced, persuaded. I'm looking to be shown that this is the best decision versus that is the best decision. So that's where I am with that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wilson?
Thank you. You may not like what we say up here, but please, we respected you, so I ask you to please respect us by the comments from the audience. We gave you time, so please allow us to do the same. As a commissioner, closing a business in Ocoee is very difficult. Residents have that choice. Purchasers have that choice. So when you talk to us about you're purchasing this puppy and the puppy has an ailment, maybe the other word was not appropriate, but it may be an ailment. That's between you and the puppy, the seller. It's not between the city. And, I sometimes don't understand why we aren't going after, there is one you're going after, the government is going after that one puppy mill, but why are we not targeting the puppy mills themselves that are selling to a hopefully legitimate company that is fulfilling a need that the community has? Not everyone wants a rescue pet. Not everyone does, because if they did, how did they sell 6,500, is that the number? How did they sell 6,500 pets to folks? I can't get that kind of through my head. If everyone wanted a rescue pet, then how did they sell 6,500? I can't figure that out. It's a tough decision we have to make. I know that we're voting on the ordinance. I know that whatever decision we make, we'll have probably 50% that are happy and 50% that aren't. But it's a tough decision. And I mean, if you were sitting up here, I think you would have that same tough decision. Yeah, you would. Because, please, there's many times that we sit up here and I've been going over this for weeks. In my mind, what I would vote, how I would vote. What are the different consequences if I vote one way or the other? We do not sit we take this job on, and we've taken it on, but it's not always a pretty sight when we have to make that decision for our residents. So again, I don't want to close down a business in Ocoee. I want them to prosper. I want them to conform to the regulations that we've set forth in this ordinance. And what I'm going to be voting on is the ordinance. Okay, I sometimes have to leave feelings out of it. I have to vote on this ordinance. So that's all I can say at this point.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner First.
This is a very highly charged subject. I mean, it's very emotional for both sides, filled with moral issues, ethical issues, and I'm not here to judge any of those. I'm not the judge of your morals, your ethics, or anything else. What I'm here for is to look at this ordinance to see if it's appropriate for this city and if it's a good ordinance. So if you'll bear with me, I have some questions, both of the ordinance itself and us up here on the dais. The first one is the recommendations made by staff. They say that they recommend that the City Commission enact one of the above referenced ordinances. Well, I only see one ordinance here. I don't see any different language, options involved, or anything else. Now, I had asked for optional language to be put in this to where you have an option of either choosing the Orange County language with no exceptions or this ordinance that has exceptions in it. Moving on, it says that the city deems that it is The city deems the continued ability of the one existing pet store in Ocoee to engage in the retail sale, blah, 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 is in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of its residents and citizens. Well, the very next statement or paragraph says that the city deems that prohibiting any other pet stores within the city from engaging in the retail sale of dogs, cats, is in the best health, welfare interest of the city's residents and citizens. Now, that's a contradiction if you ask me. It can't be both ways. We can't have it both ways. It's okay for one business to operate in this fashion, but no other business can operate in this fashion. That's not right. When it comes down to reporting, it says the existing pet store shall immediately notify in writing the city manager of the city of Ocoee and provide copies of any documentation relating to such violation, notice, or correspondence, meaning complaints against them. Now, I don't see this as a very practical solution, self-reporting, namely because the company that we're talking about doesn't even deal with the Better Business Bureau when they have complaints and issues come up against them. They don't report to the Better Business Bureau on how they resolve that problem. The existing pet store shall provide customers the right during the life of the pet to return and replace the pet purchased from the existing pet store that's afflicted by congenital or heredity disorders that debilitating affects the health of the pet. Now, the burden of proof is still on the buyer. The seller has no obligation whatsoever to prove or disprove that this, in fact, has occurred. Code enforcement, Orange County Animal Control, who is going to enforce these regulations? Orange County isn't going to, and I seriously doubt we are. And if there is a violation of any of these stipulations that are in this ordinance, what's the recourse for them? Is there going to be fines, monetary fines? Are we going to revoke the business license? It just doesn't say. If Choose a Puppy was operating in an acceptable fashion, why does the city have to put all these stipulations and requirements on them and police them to make sure that they're following it in the first place? Shouldn't they be following it in the first place? You got to ask yourself, why are we even doing this? So I strongly recommend that we deny any exception to the Orange County ordinance and not allow this city to be subject to the ridicule and embarrassment that we really don't need to face. So that's where I stand on the issue.
Thank you. You want to answer that one?
Yeah, which one do you want me to answer? The health, safety, welfare? Let me just speak to that real quick. I think, Commissioner, there's always been a balance of putting an Ocoee business out of business.
Yeah.
Which I think this commission doesn't want to do that.
No.
And it's in the best interest of the city and the employees in that business to allow them to continue on. Conversely, with a ban that's countywide, we didn't want to be in a position where now every pet store now moves to the city of Ocoee and opens up, and we become the pet store capital of Central Florida.
No.
So it's in the best interest to keep an existing Ocoee business operational, and it's in the best interest to keep others from coming in and having flooding the city of Ocoee with additional pet stores. That was that was kind of the rationale for those provisions.
Well, I see it as the overall goal of this is to stop the puppy mills the best we can. We can't directly enforce anything on them, but we can stop them from having an outlet for their product. That's the best we can do here. And if all of the pet stores are not allowed to sell dogs, cats, and rabbits, that puts a dent in their business. And they still can operate their business through adoptions, rescue, product sales, you name it, you know, whatever they do.
All right. All right. Commissioner Oliver.
About 5 years ago, I purchased a Yorkie. Went to a breeder in East Orlando. His name is Bentley, still alive. And when we got to the breeder provided all the documentation, Bentley. We met the mother and the father. We got a tour of the facility. And we got everything we needed to know about Bentley and his breeding. And we brought him home. And Bentley was a healthy puppy who grew into being a healthy adult. He's still alive today. He's no longer with us. He ran away to my mother's house in Georgia. But that's where he resides right now. He left us. But Bentley became a part of my family. At one point, he got ill, and it was my fault. I still get emotional when I think about it because I changed his pet food, and I did not do it in the manner that it should have been done. I just gave it to him, and he got really, really sick. And to the point he would just lay around and lay on the grass and look like he was just about to die. And I went to church one morning, and I left him there and said, well, I'll take care of Bentley when I get back, take him to the vet. I'm sitting in the middle of church, and I just could not. I stopped in the middle of church, walked out, went and got him, found a vet, and say, what is wrong with him? And come to find out he had something with his intestines where they started turning inside because of the food that I gave him, as opposed to giving it to him. So we put Bentley on medications, and he came through that. So I am very sympathetic when it comes to pets, animals. I saw a gator laying on the road, on the extension of Clark Road, just a few weeks ago. Someone hit it. And I could not, I sat there and waited on the police to come and see if it was alive or whatever. But again, my heart went out to that animal suffering on the side of the road. When it comes to puppy mills, and we talk about two different things here. We talk about pet store, and we talk about a puppy mill. Two things, totally different things. When it comes to puppy mills, and what I have learned about puppy mills over the past month or so, it is heart-wrenching. It is deplorable. It is just something that you wouldn't think that human beings are capable of treating animals in that fashion. It's hard for me to think that a human being is capable of treating another living organism, another living entity that way. So again, I agree with Commissioner Brinson when it says we need to start looking at the puppy mills. We need to figure out how do we continue to regulate these puppy mills. How do we continue to go after those bad puppy mills and shut them down? How do we shut them down? How do we put them in prison when they're actually treating animals that way? How do we imprison those folks that do that? How does our government do that? I don't think that the city of Ocoee is in a position to go after puppy mills. We're not capable, or we are not in a position to go outside of the city of Ocoee and regulate anything outside of our small city, our town. And I always have to wonder that when a puppy is returned, what happens to that puppy? If you think about items that you return to Walmart and things like that, or to a food store or bakery, they take it, they throw it in the trash can, and do whatever. I've often wondered what happens to disregarded puppies that may be returned to a puppy store. And I shudder to think that if a puppy store would take a puppy and just disregard it, euthanize it as a measure of just getting rid of it because someone brought it back because it was ill. But I also have to look at, there's different sides of this thing that we have to look at, and these are tough decisions that we have to make. And I have to look at the owners of this puppy store. And as I stated before, I don't think that they wake up in the morning and say, you know what, we're going to go buy some bad puppies and we're going to sell them off to anybody that we can sell them to in the name of making a profit. I don't think that they do that. I don't think that the people that work there are capable of operating in that manner. I have a hard time looking at a second generation business and shutting them down and shutting their livelihood down. That right there is tough. To have to make a decision to do something like that, I have a hard time doing that. In my heart of hearts, it tells me that's not the right thing to do. So I have to take the emotions out of it. After I've gone through all the emotions and oppositions of my feelings and my emotions and my experiences with my own pets, I have to step back and I have to look at this ordinance. I look at this ordinance and I ask specifically about a compliance component. And the reason I do that, because that's what I do every day. I do compliance every single day. I don't make many friends, but when I walk in the door, you know, some people treat me overly nice, and some people just kind of shut away from me. So you don't make many friends, and you don't know who's your real friend, who's not your real friend. But nevertheless, compliance is one thing. Compliance states that here are a set of rules and regulations that you are required to operate your business by. And my job is to make sure that you're compliant with those rules and those regulations that you are operating under. And we're asking the city of Ocoee, and I asked to bring back a compliance mechanism to this ordinance. How do we actually take a business that operates in our city to, how do we take that business and how do we set up some regulatory compliance mechanisms that will allow us to say, hey, you are operating within the parameters of the USDA, animal services, and any other compliance components that we need to operate under. And come in and say, yes, you are, or no, you aren't. Now, I've read the compliance portion here. And I want to kind of reiterate one thing about this, the compliance component of our ordinance. And it states, in the event the existing pet store receives any notice of violation of other notice or correspondence relating to complaints or operations of the existing pet store from Orange County Animal Services, the Consumer Protection Division of the Office of the Attorney General, or any other governmental agency, the existing pet store shall immediately notify in writing the city manager of the city of Ocoee and provide copies of any documentation relating to such violations, notice, or correspondence. That sounds like self-policing to me. That portion of this right here tells me one thing. That tells me that this is going to be self-policed. So I have to ask myself, when this ordinance was written, and this may be a question for you, Scott, what input did you get from the pet store, or what input did we get from any governmental agency, USDA, or what input did we get in order to create the compliance component for this ordinance?
We did speak with the pet store owner. They had some input in this ordinance. We met as city staff to discuss. And one of the challenges, Commissioner, was we don't have a animal control department. We are not set up to regulate this type of business. So it was a challenge, and we don't have an employee that would do this to do regular inspections, to fly up and check out all of the breeders. So that was kind of a challenge. What we did, Commissioner, was we probably looked at 15 to 20 different ordinances all throughout the state, other counties and cities facing the exact same thing that we're facing. And we chose regulations that we thought were appropriate, that we could handle with the limited staff that the city has to devote to this. And that's kind of what we came up with as far as the regulations, just based on what's worked or what has been implemented in other jurisdictions, with input from city staff and input from the owners of the pet store.
And one of the things that I asked for in our last meeting when it comes to compliance is I asked for third-party input into this ordinance. When I asked for a compliance component, I'm asking for a compliance component in its totality. Not stop at giving notifying the city manager in writing. What happens after that? Where is the teeth in this? I don't see it says anything about, okay, for one, this ordinance is reviewable upon 24 months, 36 months. This right here, this ordinance tells me right now, to me, it's not completely written, or this compliance component is not complete. This is just a portion of what a compliance component should be, because it's not 360. This is more 180, because it doesn't tell me within 24 months, it will come back before the commission, and we will look at and review any complaints that has been received by the city manager and make a determination whether they should continue to operate or should they be fined financially. It doesn't say any of that. It doesn't tell me, if you look at any compliance component where it deals with children's toys, drug manufacturers, the selling or the reselling of retail goods and services. If there's a compliance or a regulation there, it identifies what is the consequences of non-compliance. This does not tell me that. However, on the other hand, I see that they sold 6,500 puppies. And I'm not sure what the time frame was or what the span was. Since 2018. And I look at the amount of complaints that I receive concerning anyone that's purchased puppies from them, and it seems to be a very low percentage from the amount that they sold. So there's a lot of folks that probably had great puppies. So again, with that aside, with the emotional component and aspects that we look at this thing, our morals, our ethics, and all those things that we have to set aside and look at this right here, the city failed to give me what I asked for. They did not give me what I was looking for in its totality. So again, I think that I was looking for more in the ordinance, but I just did not get that.
Commissioner, let me address a couple and your point's well taken. You did request, I think you made a motion that we engage Orange County Animal Services in the process and have them part of the regulations. If I recall, that motion failed. The rest of the commission did not want to involve Orange County Animal Services as part of that regulation. So our direction from this commission as a whole, not you individually, but the commission as a whole, was to not include Orange County Animal Services as part of that, get their input into these regulations. The second point, Commissioner, is we did consider putting a time limit, kind of a revisit after 6 months or after 12 months. But I think what we did is better. It's more restrictive. It gives you the ultimate right to rescind the ordinance, just like if you don't adopt an ordinance tonight, then they can no longer sell dogs, cats, rabbits starting in July of 2022. And if you adopt this ordinance tonight, that allows them to continue. But at any time, you can adopt another ordinance rescinding this ordinance. So we didn't want to put a time frame and say 12 months, because if they're really, really bad actors and you're getting a ton of complaints, you may not want to give them 12 months. You might want to say 30 days or 60 days. And at any time, Commissioner or any member of the commission can get with the city manager, find out what level of complaints we've received, And if you want to put it on your calendar to bring it up every 6 months and get it on the agenda to discuss, we can absolutely do that. That's your prerogative as a commissioner. So I know there was discussion about this doesn't have any teeth. It has the ultimate teeth. You can shut them down again by rescinding the ordinance if it is adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Okey-doke. Well, I will tell you that I don't have any dogs. Had a cat for 20 years. And I babied it like it was a child, but like I said, you're not supposed to do that. But I will say my neighbor walks her dogs and her husband walks her dogs by my house all the time, and I don't abuse them. I wave at them, talk to them. So I don't have nothing against people having dogs. I have a big problem with the government that takes and tells us when we're a government that we're not able to do anything. We're supposed to bow down and do what they want us to do. And I, as an elected official for the city of Ocoee, which I say it all the time, it has got to be a citizen. I'm going to represent the citizens of Ocoee. They're the ones going to go vote. And if they don't want to vote for you, they don't vote for you. That's the way it goes. So that's how it works. But you can sit here, this half wants no, this half yes. But why is everybody, if we are elected to have an opinion, that's what we're going to give you, an opinion. And what we do, and I think that's one of the problems in what we got these days. Everybody, if you're not going to do what I want, then I'm going to go home and take my marbles. Well, folks, that's not what America's about. America's about letting everybody be able to voice their opinion and say what they want to say. Well, it used to be. So, but it's getting worse. But I will tell you that as an elected official, every one of us there has a responsibility to our citizens and to the businesses. They come here and pay taxes. They come here and give jobs. I mean, each one of them would have got up tonight and said, hey, they said the opposite of what you said, so we've been here butting heads all night. But what good's that? I just believe, and look, if it would have been a 7-0 vote with the county, it would have been a little more serious to me. But with it being a 4-3 vote, and one of them was kind of wavering on that line, kind of felt like it was pressured, so that doesn't make it a secure vote. But it is a vote, and it's what happens, and when that vote is done, then they live by it. But they are wrong. We can have our own ordinance in this city. That is by the law, so we can do that. I think there was a couple of things. Is there anybody in the state that regulates these breeders that sell out of state, that come into the state? They got all these people sitting up there regulating something.
No.
Well, there you go. Well, don't fight for that. Everybody needs to fight for that.
We are.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I believe. I think the state should be after those people, checking them when they come in. I mean, they check everything else, so check that. The money part about financing, I don't have a problem. I wouldn't do it anyway. I don't know why people do that. But it's just like buying a car nowadays. I heard somebody bought a car, they paid 7 years. Woo. You know, everybody to their own thing. But I just think we have to look after somebody that's put their money in. And I know they're if I'm not mistaken, maybe, is Commissioner Wilson still here? I know they're getting sued in Orange County. So I don't know where she went. She might be out in the lobby. I do know Orange County is getting sued over this, so that's not done with yet. So I don't think that's over. I just think we, as commissioners, have a responsibility. We bring businesses in here, we ask them to come in here, and if we as a city and the city manager will direct somebody that will be out making them come to compliance. We make everybody else. We write code enforcement issues every day. We got a group that does that. And we have the fire department that goes around to all the businesses, checking the businesses to make sure they're up to par. So that's our job, And back to what I said a while ago, the county, we pay, you pay, if you live in this city, which was only 6 people from the city of Ocoee talked, you pay taxes to the county. you pay taxes for the Orange County Animal Services, which is supposed to come out and pick up stray animals and stray dogs or any kind of animals. So that's what we pay taxes for, and that's part, I don't have a problem with them doing that. So I think it makes people get mad at you, and I'm not gonna vote for you, or I'm not gonna like the city no more, and all that stuff. Hey, this is a good city, and we wanna be truthful to our citizens, and that is all citizens that live in this city that we deal with. So I think that we probably should have done this the first meeting and not come back tonight, and we should have went ahead and fixed that, but we didn't. So now we're back here. So I know some questions were asked, so I think you answered some, and I'll let Commissioner Wilson talk a little longer where she could, and she did on what someone did. She put her stuff in here, and that's what we put it in the public record. So I'm gonna quit talking and let's see what we're gonna come up with here.
Can I just clarify, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
If we, just so we don't have any complications, you know where I'm going, don't you?
Yeah.
A yes vote, we agree with the
A yes,
resolution?
yes,
Okay.
a yes, no, a yes vote is adoption of the ordinance, which exempts this business from the county ordinance. A no vote means we're not adopting an ordinance, and we're going with the county ban on pet stores.
I got one more comment to make about,
Okay, thank you.
I did call some of these people. I sent them back. Here's what really upsets you when you get hundreds of these and they put their name in Ocoee. They don't live in Ocoee, but that's what, they got a form letter they sent out, and down on the bottom it says Ocoee. They don't live in Ocoee, because I called them and said, okay, send me your address. Not one of them sent me an address. Not one of them. So, you know, it's just a form letter that they sent out on all these people. They send these things in, you know, we'll beat them to death with these letters. I have the right to vote as elected by the people for what I think the city needs to do, not what personally I need to do, but what the city wants us to do. So what, you got another question?
No, I just wanted to confirm that we all understand what a yes vote is and what a no vote, because sometimes they get confusing.
They did before.
Huh?
So we'll let him explain it again.
Okay, just want to make,
The guy with the law.
well, that's what he wants you to explain it again, Scott.
I will explain it again. A yes vote is yes for adoption of the ordinance, which exempts Choose a Puppy from the county ordinance that would otherwise ban Choose a Puppy. A no vote means we are not adopting the ordinance, and therefore we follow under the Orange County ordinance, which would ban Choose a Puppy from or selling retail sale of pets starting in July of next year.
So yes means we're adopting this ordinance.
Yes.
Everybody got that? Okay. Time to vote. Everybody ready? All right, let's vote. All right, motion carries 3-2.
Mayor, before we finish, before we move on to any other thing else, I voted no, and I didn't vote no I did not vote no against a business, closing a business in our city. I voted no because the city failed us in this ordinance. They failed us to give us a complete 360-degree ordinance that gives us some teeth when it comes to the non-compliance or the consequences of non-compliance. I looked at the ordinance itself.
There you go. Well, you be sure to move over here where you can vote for him. He voted no because he knew what the vote was going to be. Thank you. All right. All right. Yeah.
Now where are we?
Yeah. Happy people. All right. Take 2 minutes. Don't leave. Just sit here. 2 minutes.
Okay, we got to go back to.
All right. Let's go.
Not up to me.
We got to go, Rich. Let's
Yeah,
go.
5.
Item number 5. First reading of ordinance for area offices on 868 Robeson Road, small-scale comprehensive plan, future land use map amendment and rezoning.
This is the first reading of the small-scale ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991, as amended to change the adopted future land use map designation for certain real property containing approximately 1.94 acres located at 868 Roberson Road from low-density residential to professional offices and services, authorizing the revision of the city comprehensive plan, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from R1AA to PS, Professional Offices or Services District, on certain real property containing approximately 1.94 acres located at 868 Roberson Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such rezoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this will be a first reading tonight, and we'll be back for November the 2nd for the second reading, public hearing. For both, you did rezoning too, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, all right. Item number 6, first reading of ordinance for Beltway 429, Progress Commerce Park.
All right, this is the first reading of the small-scale comp plan ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991, as amended to change the adopted future land use map designation for certain real property containing approximately 39.96 acres located on the west side of Ocoee-Popka Road, east of 429 and 2,900 feet south of Fuller's Cross Road from low-density residential to light industrial, authorizing the revision of the city comprehensive plan, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the annexation ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 39.96 acres, located on the west side of Ocoee-Popka Road, east of State Road 429, and approximately 2,900 feet south of Fuller's Cross Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date. The rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 to Ocoee PUD on certain real property containing approximately 39.96 acres located on the west side of Ocoee-Popka Road, east of State Road 429 and 2,900 feet south of Fuller's Cross Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Mayor, these three items, we don't have the second reading scheduled because we have to, if the amendment to the joint planning area agreement later on gets adopted, it has to go to the county for approval. After the county's approval of the joint planning area amendment, then we can bring these back for second reading. So that's why we do not have a date certain. We will advertise and post
All
all
right.
that.
I have a question about.
Wait a minute. Mr. Flanagan, you put down number 9, but number 9's not the one, I think. It's number 6. But that's the first reading tonight. We don't do discussions on the night. It'll be at the next meeting, November 2nd. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I didn't know a lot about that.
Thank you, sir. But you can still stay if you like. Okay. All right, this will be back on November 2nd. What, Commissioner?
No,
we don't have a date on it yet.
It's not going to be back on a date
Wait
certain.
a
We'll
minute.
have to advertise.
We'll re-advertise.
I'm sorry, re-advertise. Okay.
I do have a question about this. We had some conversation about certain areas on the eastern side of Ocoee. Was that included in this joint agreement?
We're not on that item yet.
Okay, we ain't got there yet.
We got there yet.
I'm sorry, jumping the gun. Well, you know the
That's
question.
number 9. Number 9.
You know the question when we get to it then, right? All right.
Number 7.
Number 7.
And number 7 is a request to continue to the next one. We want to re-advertise this. We made a little change. The advertising's legal, but it didn't follow our protocols for approving a new ad, so we're going to re-advertise and have it the next meeting.
All right,
Number 9.
you gonna read it or just?
Nope.
Nope. All right, it'll be on future commission.
The November 2nd, that's the
November
date.
2nd. Number 8, second reading of ordinance regulating the, we did that one. Woo, we don't want to do that no more. Public hearing, number 9, public hearing to approve amendments to the Orange County Joint Planning Area Agreement.
Okay, thank you. The city has entered in 2019 to a joint planning area agreement with Orange County. What this agreement does is twofold. It provides a logical line for the annexations that would be depicted on this map with the solid black line. That line demarks where we will not annex outside of a boundary that we've agreed upon with Orange County. And the second item is those properties that are within the county inside that joint planning area line, we've agreed upon an assumed land use upon annexation. So the item I have before you today is to amend this agreement for 2 specific purposes. There's a third that we're working on, and I'll get to that. So the item before you today is we have a joint planning area agreement with Orange County with a map depiction and land uses. I have 2 specific properties bringing forward right now for a First Amendment and a Second Amendment to this agreement. The First Amendment deals with 39 acres that is going to be coming forward. You just had a first reading on in a public hearing to change from, it's annexing into the city, changing the land use from low-density residential to light industrial, and we'll have a PUD rezoning. And second, there is a property on South McGuire, which has an existing office land use and zoning. We want to provide an opportunity for commercial there, so we're changing the land use to commercial. These properties will come back to you in a public hearing to officially change the land use. We just don't have the right to seek those land uses until we amend the agreement. Going back to the 39 acres, the city has in place an overlay in this area, which is a zoning ordinance with specific criteria for development. The future land use is shown as low-density residential, which would allow 4 single-family homes per acre. The city came along with a staff initiative, and the city commission adopted an overlay in this area. It's highlighted in green. Specific, we call it the business character area. This goes on the success of what we're seeing on the 429. We placed an overlay on it which requires development to be higher density than residential. We want industrial, retail, restaurant, mixed use, appropriate multifamily. When we adopt that ordinance, we've put this zoning overlay on the area. What would follow next is if it was all one property owner that owned all 125 acres, we would come in with a land use and make the land use match. But since there's 20 different property owners, we rely on it on a case-by-case basis. Because if we went ahead and tried to change all the land uses ourselves, it would be an involuntary rezoning. It's an expensive, long process. So this is the first project within our business character area that we're seeking to change the land use from low-density residential to light industrial. 2 things. Light industrial land use allows multifamily and retail. It cascades down. Number 2 is if you vote yes on amending our agreement with the county to say this can be light industrial, it doesn't mean you have to vote yes on a future project that comes before you in a public hearing for a rezoning and such. It just means we're gonna plan on this area being something more than residential. Third, there's a third property we're working on the east side of the city, which is split by the JPA. This property is not before you today because of 3 items. This property would require an amendment to the boundary of the joint planning area. It happens to coincide with the boundary of the utility service agreement, another agreement we have with the county, and it deals with drainage issues. And we are working with the county on how we're going to accomplish the drainage issue, the utility boundary, and the JPA matching. So it will be the 3rd amendment when it comes forward. We're just still working on it. that one, I have two projects in the pipeline with ordinances. That's why I'm bringing the First Amendment and the Second Amendment today. The Third Amendment will come at some point in the future. So, to kind of go back, this is the current map that's a part of our agreement with Orange County. You can see that along Ocoee Pop Road, it's all yellow. So everything that has a color is currently in the county. And upon annexation, it could only be residential. So we're amending the agreement to change this portion from yellow to purple, light industrial. And second, this property is really small, but it's all pink, it's all office professional, changing it to commercial land use, which means it has the right to come in and receive a zoning of commercial or a zoning compatible to I-1 light industrial. With all that, I told all the residents to stay at bay for this one. It wasn't that big of a deal, so I can answer any questions.
All right, you got anything to read for it?
This
All
is
right, I'm
just
gonna
an
open the public
approval of an
hearing.
agreement. What happens here is we would, if approved, we would execute the agreement, take it to the county. Per our agreement, they have 60 days to put it on their agenda. It goes on their agenda, and then it's ratified. No ordinance, resolution, or anything.
Anybody, open the public hearing, anybody in the public have any comments pertaining to the item 9A and B? Close it, come back to the podium. I hear a motion. Oh, wait. Yeah,
I make a motion that we approve, are we approving them separately or together?
we need to do separate.
Yeah, let's do the First Amendment
first one was-
first.
A,
Do we need to read anything else?
There's
No.
no reading.
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve item number 9A.
I'll second that.
motion made, Commissioner Arnold for 9A, First Amendment to the Orange County JPA, and then seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Item, I need one for B.
I also would like to make a motion that we approve item D, the Second Amendment to the Orange County JPA.
Your second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ferguson. Motion made by Commissioner Oliver, seconded by Commissioner Ferguson for Second Amendment to the Orange County JPA. All in favor or opposed? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Regular agenda none. Comments from the citizens. Mr. Moore.
Jim Moyers, resident of City of Ocoee and veteran. I have two separate and distinct asks of the commission for their consideration. The first I've spoken about before, to have a Pearl Harbor remembrance on Tuesday, December 7th, and the discussions in the chambers at 5:30 before the commission meeting. The VFW district commander is willing to come here and speak. He's going to try to get his color guard and maybe his World War II veterans to attend. And if everyone approves, if it's approved by the commission, I'll circle back to some of the people I preliminarily spoke with, the recruiting office, the Legion, the Sea Cadets. The second ask is separate and distinct, but it's part of a PowerPoint. Little background here. According to the U.S. Census, in 1980, 18% of the United States population were veterans. If you jump to 2018, just 7% of the population in the United States are veterans. According to the City of Ocoee, the 2019 United States Census says 2,237 veterans, or approximately 4.64% of the Ocoee citizens are veterans. That's obviously below the 7%. As I said 2 weeks ago, I attended American Legion down the street, the Post 109. I joined. The current membership is 16. The person in charge of it, Tom, was the only person there, and then I joined at that time. So I'm now a new member. So I am asking for the commission to PowerPoint's not working. To please help.
What date did you say it's going to be on?
Where, what?
December 7th.
November the what?
December the 7th, Tuesday,
December the 7th.
which is Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is my second ask here. Excuse me. This is, real quickly, if you don't mind. This is my second ask here, and I'm still messing up on this PowerPoint. I was asked by the person in charge of Post 109 to create a Facebook page to help membership. So I'd like to basically have a membership drive for Post 109 right down the street. Here's a new Facebook page. If you're a part of Facebook, please like it. American Legion, Post 109, Ocoee, Florida. And there's a picture of the plaque outside the Senior and Veteran Center. Thank you very much for your time. So to ask, support this and the Pearl Harbor Day remembrance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer.
Mayor, should we ask for community, for Joy Wright to get
Yes.
involved with?
Rob, I'd like to see if she could
Just to kind of,
help with Mr. Moyer, get with him. I'd like to
I don't know if
see
it's
us
Joy
do
or,
that.
Have them meet with community relations?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
just to facilitate that so
Yeah.
that, it's always nice that we know what's going on. The city knows what you're going to be presenting, so I like that. You know, I just,
I have preliminarily spoken to Ms. Wright as well, and I'd be glad if I have your approval to do
Yes.
so.
City manager, is that okay? Yeah. I showed Mr. Moyer on that before the thing. I got 3 flags from World War II. So we'll have them on display. They were used in transport coming back from overseas from World War II.
Mayor, are we getting that mailbox? Remember that it came before us to get the, I know Winter Garden has one in front of your, okay, but we're going to get a
We're
mailbox
supposed to.
putting in the front that where people could put their flags that they want disposed of?
Yeah, we're supposed to.
My understanding is that it's been ordered.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, all right.
Because I was asked about it the other day.
Brad?
Thank you.
Evening, Brad Lomnick, Veronica Place. I have a question about the, tonight, you approved the funding for the Remembrance Day for the HRDB board. I had one question about the $1,200 that was being donated, said to a youth council. Is that the city's youth council? Where is that money going to? Which council?
I think you're gonna have to ask the persons actually that's receiving the honorarium. They stated that they would actually choose what, any youth group or scholarship they want to give that to. So basically, if a person's being paid an honorarium to do something, it is at their discretion to take that honorarium and do whatever they wish to do with it.
So potentially that money could come out of the city of Ocoee to fund something outside of the city of Ocoee?
Potentially, if that person that earns that honorarium, such as if you did some work for the city and we paid you to do it, and you want to take that money and do whatever you want to do with it, then you
but
have the
she's
right to
not-
do so.
I understand that, yes, sir, but she's not taking that money as payment, she is donating it. So why would we donate city funds to something outside of the city if
We're
possible?
not doing that. She's making a conscious effort of her own funds to do that on her own.
I think I would ask the council to revisit that, to either pay the speaker her fee or ask for that money to go back into the back into a reserve fund. If it was going to the Ocoee Youth Council, which I think would be, that we've already, I believe you've already raised their budgets at the last budget meeting, so I say we either pay the honorarium or we ask for that money to stay into our city if it's not going to somebody in our city.
I think that's exactly what we're doing. We're actually paying the honorarium, and she has decided to take the honorarium, and actually she stated that she wants to donate it to a youth group in the city of Ocoee. She did state the city of Ocoee.
My understanding is it's going to be given to Senator Bracey's scholarship fund, which is...
Well, she did not say that. She simply said that she was going to take the money, her money, and she's going to donate it to a youth organization in the city of Ocoee. So if you have any questions about that, you might want to go ask her.
Well, I think I would just rather ask the council to either reconsider that budget and take that line item out or pay her money. That's what I would ask. Secondly, I would also ask, I believe Mr. Moyer wants to have this program. Do you want to have it at the Withers McGuire House?
After speaking with the mayor and everybody involved, we felt it'd be better right here in the commission.
So can the council also maybe put in a consensus to give that date either for the outside to the park or to the Withers McGuire House?
Well, I think I made a mistake. I'm not going to be gone December 7th. I'm not going to be gone. I'll be here. I think we should have it over by the memorials.
Oh, you want to have
Yeah.
it over there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely run that by Joy Wright, and you guys come together
Yeah.
with staff and put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be weather permitting.
Yeah.
You could
Weather
Yeah,
keep-
weather
permitting,
permitting, because we could potentially move it inside if it's raining.
Yeah.
Marching in the rain builds character.
Sorry, can we make a consensus then to reserve the Withers McGuire House and outside for that day now? Because it's getting pretty cold.
That's probably a good idea.
We need to tell Joy that.
Can we put it on the calendar?
That's what Joy needs, Rob.
We have to make sure.
Yeah,
that-
if that's what y'all want to do, we just probably need, we just need a consensus, and we can do that. And I'm assuming when you say put the date on the calendar,
Yeah.
we're not going to charge anybody for it
No.
also.
Okay. It's kind of like the veterans thing we used to do over there.
But the Withers McGuire House inside there may be very difficult for
No,
people
we're going to do it outside.
outside.
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
So if we have a consensus, I bring this up a lot, it's, a lot of times it might have something to do with trash removal or a little extra duty in the police department. I assume what you're saying is cooperate and use some city resources to help get this done.
Again, it would only be about a half an hour, correct? Because the meeting starts at 6:15, and you're starting this at 5:30.
Yes, and part of the reason it's 5:30 is because the post commander, VFW post commander works. That's the earliest he is.
And it's going to get dark.
Yes, that's true.
Quickly.
We got lights over there, I think.
You got, again, I
It's
have
supposed to be.
I have no problem if, for us, my opinion is that offer the resources from, if we need the police department and any trash
They can
containers or
work on
whatever,
that.
but.
That's what Joy's going to be doing.
Right, but I think.
I understand,
Ron
I'm
wanted
just,
to-
Commissioner, I'm
wanted
just trying to
consensus.
make it clear, because sometimes we just say, let's go ahead and reserve it, and there's a lot of incidental things that when they come up to us, we're like, well, they said reserve it, but they didn't say provide trash pickup or those types of things. So that's just what I'm asking, is if there's some type of cooperation, you want us to cooperate to an extent to make sure that that happens without great expense, but,
Mr. 5:30, 30 minutes will be enough before we come over here, right? Yeah. 5:30? Is that consensus okay?
If
Yeah.
we don't,
If it's
Yeah.
dark, you want to be in
Yeah.
here.
well, no, yeah, but if everyone is on time.
yeah, all I'm thinking is if we decide to have some bottles of water or something like that, I mean, that's above and beyond letting them have the building, is what I'm saying. So just
Cold drinks.
cooperate and
Make it happen.
and make it happen,
Waive
and if
fees.
it costs a few bucks,
Yeah.
is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
fine.
once you get with Joy Wright and come up with a program and run it by staff, just bring it back before, the commission say this is what we decided to do.
All right.
That's a consensus.
But if we
Yes.
give
consensus
now, he can go ahead and
Oh,
plan
yeah,
a
you
few
can go ahead and
things.
do it.
We still have 2 meetings before that also, so, I
Then we
mean,
don't stop things.
that
so-
helps too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Commissioner Oliver? 10 minutes. Wait a minute.
One of the things,
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna start.
There you go.
Give me
Now
a
you can
couple
start.
seconds.
Giddy up and go.
So, one of the things we always talk about is getting involved in what goes on in the city. As we see that there are citizens that come before us, as we just finished discussing a program that one of the citizens wanted to put on, and they're able to weigh in on these things. This is how we get involved in the city. That's one way. Coming to the commission meetings, we meet every first and third Tuesdays of the month. We meet at 6:15 sharp, and if you want to weigh in on anything that we talk about, the agendas are available the Wednesday before that Thursday. Beyond coming to the commission meetings, we have several city-sanctioned advisory boards that are available for citizens to sit in and weigh in and chime in on what's going on in the city from different perspectives. One, we have a advisory board from the fire department. They have a total of 6 openings. We also have an advisory board for the police department. They have 5 openings. We have a code enforcement board, has 1 alternative opening. Our general employee retirement trust fund has 1 opening. Our human relations and diversity board has 2 openings. Parks and Recreation has 2 openings. And our youth council right now, they're compiling a waiting list for the youth council. So those are excellent ways to get involved in what goes on in the city, and also to have a voice into how we move forward as a city. One of the things I would also like to ask is that if we can, I'm not sure if it's going to require a consensus or not. We talked about speed bumps on Hackney Prairie, and I know that we were considering putting that on the agenda, but considering what we had to deal with tonight, I don't see any way that would have even made the agenda. It was too much going on.
Perhaps this will
But I would like
help.
to know, can we add that to the next
Yeah,
agenda?
so
Yeah.
we actually met all the departments that had anything to do with that, and because we couldn't get everyone together until last Thursday, we are going to bring something forward for a presentation at the next meeting on that.
Okay, great, great. One of the things that I've received several emails about, and I continue to receive emails regarding the widening of Clark Road. I know Mike Ruman he may already be gone, but we've already had this discussion about Clark Road, and what I want him to do, just give us just a quick briefing on, we talked about that 30%, and what does that mean to the design phase of Clark Road when we talk about adding in left turn signals heading southbound? Or left turn lanes, I'm sorry.
Clark Road segment from just north of AD Mims up to Claricona Ocoee Road, there is an engineer that is a consultant designing an engineered plan, construction plans. The city will receive those 30% plans this week, at which time we will go over them. We expect everywhere, because we have the right-of-way, that you can fit a turn lane at the intersections at all intersections. Turn lane will be provided. We're going to look at it horizontally and also the technical aspects of it, and see what's going on. And until we see that, we can't say whether there's going to be a turn lane here or there. If there's not one, we will try to find out why. Is it due to geometry, speed of road, distance to another? So until we get those 30% plans, we will not know how it's horizontally looking. That will come in this week, and city staff, including Public Works, will start reviewing those plans to make comments.
Awesome. So for those citizens that have been sending out emails and text messages concerning that particular subject, that was a briefing, an update as to where we are with that particular project. And as soon as we get more information, it'll be forthcoming, and I will make sure that everyone involved gets that information and make sure that we are all on the same page, or at least we're dancing to the same sheet of music. All right, so thank you so much for that, Mike. Also, District 4, we have an annual town hall meeting coming up. It's going to be November 11th at 6 p.m. at the Lakeshore Center. It will start approximately at 6 p.m. That is the building right next to our city hall. We'll have more information to follow concerning that town hall meeting, It will be concerning District 4, the different projects we got going on. We will also have several department heads there to talk about the services that the city provides to the citizens. So that meeting will be also publicized in the coming days. You will see that, and you also have an opportunity to come and talk about or ask questions about projects, questions to different department heads as to what their services is all about and what we have to offer our citizens. And finally, just kind of reflecting back on tonight and what we these gut-wrenching decisions that we have to make tonight as elected officials. As I reflect back on those decisions, and I must say that no one up here took those decisions lightly. No one. And I'm sure that we have all probably had some sleepless nights thinking about how to vote in these particular this particular issue here. And I must say that it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to weigh in on a situation like that when there's so many emotions involved in making these type of decisions. So when I think about the word courage, this is what I came up with. One can never discover new oceans unless they have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Author unknown. And I will yield back to the commission.
Commissioner Forstner. I'd just like to remind everybody that next Sunday is Halloween. Be very careful with your driving, slow down. There's going to be a lot of kids out there, so use extra care when you're driving around the community. That's all. Commissioner Wilson.
I don't think I have anything to add to what you've already added, Mr. Firstner, because we've had speeding issues in Ocoee, and with Halloween coming up, we need to practice safe behavior while we're on the road. And again, you know, speeding has not stopped, the issue has not resolved itself from what I can see. And as we all know, as the holidays get closer, people's behavior changes in their driving. I've seen that so many times. You can tell Christmas isn't far away because I don't know where they're going. They have to get there faster. But we still have this issue in Ocoee, so please, slow down. We don't want your money. We don't want you to have a ticket. I want you to have safe behavior, especially when we have folks out walking and the weather changed. And as we know, when the weather changes, people are out, which is great, but please. And Brad, regarding that honorarium, the way I interpreted it was it would go to the person who was making in the speech, but that was their choice where they wanted to go. So again, I believe that my interpretation was the money was going to be sent to that person and let them make the choice where they want to send it. Because an honorarium, usually we pay the person and they accept it or they don't accept it. So, no, it's a good question. Thank you.
Mr. Brinson?
Is that your name?
Today, that's what I'm gonna use today.
What's your name?
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. This, you know, traffic is always gonna be something that we're gonna address, you know. But this is something also that I know in the north end we're starting having problems with, and that is people stealing trailers out of people's driveways.
Yes.
The 9 o'clock routine is something that is a good habit to get into. Lock your cars, close your garage doors, make sure they're locked. You know, make sure the garage door leading into your garage, as well as your roll-up garage door is closed. This is important. I've had more than a couple of citizens reach out to me regarding trailers that were stolen from them in gated communities, no doubt. It's not just, you know, along regular public roads, but these are private roads that these trailers are being stolen from. So the 9 o'clock routine, let's get back into that habit of doing a once around in your house, making sure your lights are on outside, making sure your doors are secure, your windows are closed accordingly, and make sure if you do have valuable things in your cars, make sure you take them inside. At the very minimum, lock your car's doors, because people are still checking to see if you do it, and if you don't, they will take advantage of it. Trash, that's something that's come to my attention again. I know on Worst Road, we've had some challenges up there with yard waste pickup, and through that entire area, not just Worst Road, but Mona and Lady and all those other streets up there. So we're looking at that. We're taking a hard look to see if it's something that where the driver missed the route, was it a new driver? But at the very minimum, we're gonna talk with the vendor to make sure that those pickups are made in a timely manner. But if they're not made, don't wait 2 weeks and see it's still sitting there. If it's not picked up on that day, give the city a call, give me a call, call somebody, let us know, because we may not know unless you tell us. And so we can take action. But that's something that is a problem when you're adding to your yard waste from the last time you put yard waste out. That's problematic. So we have to get on top of that. I'm going to kind of talk, kind of sort of what Commissioner Oliver talked about, but in a different way. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to come and physically, in person, come to the commission meetings. But tonight is indicative of how important these commission meetings are. A lot of thought and goes into the decisions that we make, and it's heartfelt, but also it's a process. But we also have mechanisms in place where you can view the commission meetings even if you're not here. So you can view it live virtually if you cannot make the commission meeting. Also, if you can't view it on the day the commission meeting happens, you can go to the YouTube channel. You can go to the city's website to review what happened at the commission meeting, what we talked about, what we voted on, what we didn't vote on, what we tabled, what are all the other discussions and some of the presentations that was made. That's important because even though you may not be able to make it here, you can still get it, the information raw. So if you can't make the commission meeting, I'm going to say it again, we want you to come to the commission meeting. We want, standing room only in the chambers. But if you can't make it, you can still be informed of what happened at the commission by going to our YouTube channel or going to the city website. Now, with that said, you also have an opportunities, and I know COVID-19 kind of put the kibosh on a lot of homeowners association meetings. However, now that people are starting to meet more and more in person, then I'm open to be invited to District 1's homeowners association meetings. And I know I've talked to a couple of homeowners associations that asked me to come in and help them get up to speed on what's happening in the city. I'm open to do that. Give me a call, because I don't know all the presidents or their contact information for the HOA. So give me a call or send me an email, lbrinson, BRINSON, at Ocoee.org. That's my email address. Again, lbrinson at Ocoee.org. Up in the north end, I know, Rob, we talked about this regarding reclaimed water in the north end. We've gotten some challenges. I just want to make sure that the folks up there by the high school are understanding that we've taken this for action, where they're having excessive amounts of calcium in their outside water, and which is starting to stain their driveways, their sidewalks, and their pavers in their driveways. And so we have to take a look at that to see who's the responsible party there, what can we do. I know one of the communities up there is a gated community, so, they're responsible for their streets. However, that water that comes in there is pumped in there by a government agency. So we need to figure out who's responsible for that water. If it's, I know they had a problem with, you had a problem with sulfuric smell in your water, and they addressed that. And now that's coming back. So I just want to let you know that we're addressing that, and we're going to see if we can work that out. Again, if I can't preach this enough, 9 p.m. routine, be vigilant, because people are checking your door handles and they're getting into your vehicles, and sometimes some of those vehicles are riding down the road and you're not in it. So that's all I have.
Announcements. The Parks and Recreation Department will hold its Spooktober, super scary haunting experience at the Jim Beats Rec Center this Friday, October the 22nd, and Saturday, October the 23rd, and Thursday, October the 28th, through Saturday, October the 30th, from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. For more information, call the Ocoee Parks and Recreation Department, 407-905-3180. Hackney Prairie, I went to the lawyer day the other day, and that was a discussion. Some of the problems, you really can't put the speed bumps through there, but they've come up with some good suggestions about the beautification and changing the road around with the different ways to do the beautification, put some trees out and like cut circles into it, not circles, but what do you call them, traffic commerce, and kind of like what we got other areas. No, not roundabouts. Yeah, but they are talking about a roundabout on a couple of places. But you've seen them where they did it up on Lady, except a little better than what they did on Lady. So, but that's some of the ways to do that. Reclaim water, I'm glad you brought that up. I was in a homeowners meeting for Admiral Point, matter of fact, Commissioner. Their main thing, believe it or not, they didn't even bring up the trash, but they won't reclaim water. It's gone down to some of the subdivisions there on White Road, and before it goes on the north side to the new areas, they say they need the water, reclaim water in their area, because they've been there 23 years.
They've been there, and I know that we've talked, when Charles Smith was here, I talked to him multiple times, and there was a plan as to when, how many years, and I know Admiral's Point is one that wants to reclaim water. I'm aware of that.
I'm just saying, before we go move it into the new areas, we need to go to the areas that's been here, that these people, they reminded me they pay good tax dollars, so I believe them. So they won't reclaim water. So, and I think it runs right up there on Montgomery, up to Montgomery.
It doesn't, what it does is it comes down Montgomery.
No, I know.
But it turns right
Yeah.
to when they put it into Wedgwood Commons and to Lake Olympia.
Yeah.
But it didn't go straight down nor to the opposite way. It's not going down Montgomery from, south side of Montgomery from White Road.
And that's another issue, because
You don't have
those
one.
are
You don't have to, yeah.
those townhomes, condos there, they got the reclaimed water, and the people with all the yards that are using most of the water should have got the reclaimed water.
They got reclaimed at the Lake Olympia townhomes?
That's what I'm saying. I thought you said that.
No, I'm saying that when it came down Montgomery.
Montgomery,
It,
yeah.
at White Road, it stopped and turned right and
Yeah.
it continued up to Clark Road, so that it would,
Well,
that's when Wedgwood Commons got it and Lake Olympia got
yeah,
it.
we've got to look at those areas, because before we do, nothing against the north side, but I mean, they're right. They've been there a long time, and they've been wanting it too. So we need to look at that, Rob, and I know that, I guess, Jamie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the things that we've run across in the past few years, the two water management districts were giving us a lot of money for a long time, and we were kind of picking off one subdivision after another going down some of the streets. And that money, they've gotten a little stingier with that lately. Some of the stuff we were waiting for on the north end of town, we've got probably for 4 or 5 years now, we've had that interlocal agreement with the county to get that 1 million gallons a day. So that helped us expand a little up there. So I guess, depending on how much money we want to throw at that issue, I mean, it's really tough right now to get underground construction done and above-ground construction. I know we're still looking at them. We have a couple of neighborhoods that are very interested in getting it, and we're looking at the extensions to get those mains in front of their developments. But it's tough right now to get projects bid and to get anything more than one response on them, and we're seeing probably 50% more than we've seen in the past. But we still have money we put towards it every year. We're still fairly aggressive in it, and we're moving forward.
I know it's just like jobs, people looking for jobs, but I'm just saying, we got to look at this reclaimed water to areas that have been here. They want it too.
Can I ask a quick question, Mayor? Oh, this maybe it's for you, Rob. But when we look at the American Recovery Act funding, is there a bucket of money that's designated for that?
I asked, he didn't give me an answer. I asked Craig about that.
It's possible.
From my rescue money.
Yes.
Yeah, I asked about that, but there he is.
Craig, do you know?
Just when you thought he was out.
Craig Shadrax. We have $56 million of projects on ice, many of which are water and sewer-related projects that will dramatically help expand our service in our city. And that will be coming to you later on, as
Okay.
Rebecca had presented to you before.
Well, let's see if we can work some of that. Okay. All right, I'm going to read this thing. I read this, and I thought it was kind of, I was reading this book. Henry Ford said this: coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Pretty good saying. That's Henry Ford. Guess he was getting all the Ford people together. All right. Hey, I appreciate all the commissioners, and I will say it gets kind of tedious sometimes. People get a little upset at us, but that's the way it goes. You know, on the other side, they don't like it. So I think everybody has the right to vote the way they want to, and that's what democracy is supposed to be. And appreciate everybody. I think we do what we're supposed to do for citizens, and that's what matters. I appreciate it very much. November the 2nd is our next meeting, right? That's before the functions, right? Yeah. All right. We can talk about it then. All right. We are adjourned. Hey, ready, boy?
This wasn't painful at all. Not in the least bit. I should have got up and walked around. I sat there.